will impact the world next? The speakers at our very first Best Youth Global, that's who. Are you a young powerhouse between the ages of 8 and 20? Then this expo is just for you. Join us on June 12th and 13th as a global influencer or global innovator and share your story, your influence, your journey to make and market your creativity, or just share your inspiration. All speakers will have automatic access to the Best Gen Zone. This is where the Best You Expo has free offerings and discount coupons just for your generation. For more information and to register as a speaker, go to thebestyouexpo.com today.
And welcome back. So we have Marjorie with us. Hi, Marjorie.
Hello there, and lovely to see you.
We can't hear you, Marjorie.
You can't hear? That's very strange.
So while Marjorie is figuring out her mic, let me tell you that her topic is how to access the full power.
Welcome, Marjorie.
Hi.
I've been hearing such phenomenal things about you, great things, and we're very excited to hear what you have to share. You're a true inspiration.
Wait a minute.
Sarisha, I know you mentioned that you're collaborating with Marjorie just while she gets herself together. What are some of the things you're looking to do with Marjorie? Oh, seems like we're having a little glitch. Not sure if you can all hear me as well. Okay, great. Well, Marjorie is going to share some really exciting things, and especially as we get older, the things we can look forward to. Not hearing me either?
Going to try a different mic.
Okay, it happens. You know, this is life. Okay, not hearing. Marjorie, can you hear me? Okay, great. You can hear me. And Sarisha, are you able to hear me as well? No, Sarisha is gone.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, Marjorie. Excellent.
Great.
Welcome. It happens.
All right, I just have to put the mic on this gizmo.
Sure. And with your experience, I'm sure you understand that life happens, things happen. You just have to be flexible. One of my favorite quotes is from Michael McGriff is, "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape." So life happens, but we're so happy to have you here, Marjorie. Okay. Whoops. Let's check in here. Maybe we can go to a quick commercial until we have this sorted.
We are living in unprecedented and uncertain times. Thriving in the New Normal is my new TV show created just for you. Are you aware that while most people are surviving during this new normal, others are thriving like never before? Which one are you? Circumstances have never defined a person. Our responses do. What if you could experience the thoughts and behaviors of some of the most successful people in the world and how they have chosen to respond? Let us help you become the person you were destined to be and not just your current reality. You deserve it. Get ready to thrive. Watch my show now on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google Play.
Who will impact the world next? The speakers at our very first Best Youth Global, that's who. Are you a young powerhouse between the ages of 8 and 20? Then this expo is just for you. Join us on June 12th and 13th as a global influencer or global innovator and share your story, your influence, your journey to make and market your creativity, or just share your inspiration. All speakers will have automatic access to the Best Gen Zone. This is where the Best Youth Expo has free offerings and discount coupons just for your generation. For more information and to register as a speaker, go to thebestyouthexpo.com today.
Okay, so now can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, all right. So as I was saying, it's my opinion that all hardware and software come with gremlins. And one of the times they come out is when things are really important.
Yes, that does happen. So sorry everyone for the technical glitches, but now we're online and this is part of the parcel. Do you want me to introduce you again, Marjorie?
If you like, yes.
I would like to. I like your introduction. It's pretty cool. So Marjorie here is a top speaking coach of the year and top motivational speaker of the decade. She's a communication confidence coach and she is still going strong at 80 and intends to be the most fabulous 100-year-old babe you have ever met.
You bet.
Author of the #1 international best-selling book, Empowering Business Owners to Overcome Speaking Fears, whether you're talking with one person or 1,000 people. She's also one of the 50 women, that includes Oprah Winfrey and Melinda Gates, who are contributing authors to the book America's Leading Ladies, Stories of Courage, Challenge, and Triumph. That's amazing, amazing, Marjorie.
Thank you.
Welcome, Marjorie.
It's my pleasure to be here. So technical thing, I mean, I can run my slides from here or you have them also there. So what is the best way forward, ladies?
I think perhaps just go with what you have, Marjorie, and share with us. I'm particularly excited about this because, you know, with knowledge, everything, experience is just something that doesn't come overnight. And I'm excited to hear what you have to share with us. So I would recommend you using your, from your end.
Okay, well, what I don't see here is the share my screen link here on the site. Oh, share. It's hiding at the bottom.
There you go.
Okay, so let's see. Let me get my program up here so that everybody can see it. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is how to access the full power of your voice. And as I was introduced, I am a communication confidence coach. And the reason I call myself that rather than like a public speaking coach or something is because when people think about public speaking, they think about giving a speech. And I think public speaking is anytime you talk to somebody other than yourself. So people, when I've interviewed people, they say, I want to feel more confident. I don't want to sound like an idiot. So that's why I changed my title to Communication Confidence Coach. And part of confidence is liking how you sound. Now, this is very interesting. A study was made about how people assess you and what you say when you are talking to them in person. 55% of this is your body language, how you come across, how you're dressed, your whole aura. 38% is your tone of voice. And only 7% are your spoken words. As a writer and author, this really blew my mind. How can only 7% be your spoken words? But then I realized something. The words that you choose to say tremendously affect both your tone of voice and how you come across, with what kind of confidence or lack of confidence that you come across. Now, when you're on the phone and nobody can see you, it's 90% your tone of voice, 10% the words you choose to say. But the words you choose to say are what affect, in my opinion, the tone of your voice. So how do you improve the tone of your voice? That's what we're going to be looking at now. And of course, when you're on Zoom, it's body language, it's tone of voice, and it's spoken words. Now, getting back to the body language, I would like to share with you that if you are on a Zoom call and you have your video off, it is the same as showing up at a networking event with a bag over your head. Don't do it, please. So here's all kinds of places that we're using our voices these days. Obviously on Zoom and teleconferences, when we're speaking to friends on the phone, whether it's FaceTime or just speaking as a phone without the visual. A lot of times we work on getting on talk shows and podcasts and so forth and so on. And, you know, we're in front of a microphone. Our voice counts. And then, of course, sometimes we're just in a meeting and somebody says, can you say a few words about that subject? Or we have to do a presentation. One of these days we may get back to speaking to people in public. Who knows? But what comes up for a lot of people are anxiety and fear. On the list of fears, studies have shown that people are more afraid of public speaking than they are of dying. In fact, Jerry Seinfeld has a very funny video about this where he goes on to mention that means that at a funeral, people would rather be the body in the box than the person delivering the eulogy. So what are we concerned about, and what do we need to look at when we're talking about the power of our voice? First of all, it's the quality. Oh, I hate how I sound. Then there's a reliability. My throat is so dry I can hardly talk. And then there's something called vocal variety. Now, what is that? That's not speaking in a monotone. So ask an expert about all of this. And as you heard, I am an expert about this. In fact, there I am delivering the keynote address at the annual gala of the International Association of Top Professionals. And I didn't start out that way, by the way. I didn't talk till I was 4, and I was a shy introvert. So please do not give me the excuse, I can't do this, I'm an introvert. Well, welcome to the club. Some of the most effective speakers and communicators in the world are people who are introverts. In fact, introverts have a tremendous advantage over extroverts. We listen. And as mentioned, I did have a #1 international best-selling book on Amazon, Empowering Business Owners to Overcome Speaking Fears, whether you're talking with one person or 1,000. And the link to that book, by the way, is in my booth. So really think about it, and I invite you to take some notes, because these are important things that you may not remember after we're done, because there are 3 key factors to consider regarding how your voice sounds. Your instrument, your pipes, and some vocal do's and don'ts. Now, what do I mean by your instrument? The fact of the matter is, whether you are singing or speaking, your body is what is your instrument. Think about it. So you need to keep it in tune. How do you do that? Are you rested? Are you getting enough sleep? Has anybody ever said to you, you sound tired? Are you drinking enough water? Now, I don't mean, taking a big, huge thing of a gallon of water and trying to drink it down all at once. Your body cannot figure out what to do with that much water. Use what the Israelis invented for the desert, drip irrigation. The Israelis found out if they tried to water stuff the way people used to do in higher climates, so some of us still do in Michigan, with a spray, it all dissolves in the air. You want your body to absorb water, sip it, drip by drip. Because the fact of the matter is that hydrated vocal cords are happy vocal cords. they are going to be much more reliable when you're speaking, particularly if you have to speak for any length of time. Now, vocal cords are often called pipes, and there's a very good reason. Because like an organ, they need air to function well. And unlike organs that that are electrified, you need to supply the air. So the question is, are you supporting the sound of your voice with what I call expanded rib cage breathing? Now, when people tell you to take a deep breath, they very often say, well, breathe so that your stomach, sticks out. That's the end result. But think about it. Where are your ribs located? They are inside your rib cage. If you think about your rib cage as kind of like a protective barrel around your lungs, then when you take a really deep breath, you should feel your ribs expanding. If you put your hands on your ribs and take a really deep breath, you should feel your rib cage expanding. And the way to test if you're really getting all around is do this when you're in bed. Feel if your back actually hits the mattress. Then you'll know you're really expanding your rib cage. Then there's a resonating space that's in your mouth. If you are talking with your teeth stuck together like this, you are losing a lot of resonating space. So how do you get that resonating space open? You do what my mother of blessed memory used to call mammoth cave breathing. Now, well, she just called it mammoth cave because when I was a little girl, very often I would yawn a lot and I would forget to cover my mouth. And my mother got so tired of reminding me to cover my mouth that she started saying mammoth cave as a way to kind of remind me. So what is mammoth cave breathing? It's not simply dropping your chin. It's breathing from the back of your mouth, from the hinge. It's separating your upper and lower back teeth. When you do that and hold it and kind of breathe in and out for a while, you will totally relax your jaw and open up that space in your mouth. So what are some of the bonuses of doing this type of deep breathing? First of all, when you take a very deep breath and you expand your chest, you access chest resonance. One of the reasons you don't like how you sound is because you're not accessing chest resonance and your voice sounds horrible. So you want to keep breathing deeply so that you sound good. And your mouth resonance helps to add to the warmth and sound of your voice. The other thing is that you avoid vocal fatigue. Instead of having to create all the sound by themselves, your vocal folds or vocal cords get the support of the air that comes from your chest. And it helps reduce nervousness. The fact of the matter is that when you start breathing deeply, it does help with nervousness. It gives your body this message that you're safe. You don't start deep breathing when you're running from a tiger. You just breathe deeply and your body says, I'm in a safe place. So here's some vocal do's. It helps to warm up your body. You can stretch your upper body. You want to avoid the tension that will show up in your voice. Remember that your body is your instrument. Roll your shoulders forwards, back, and around several times. That helps. Slowly roll your head in circles several times in each direction. And yawn widely and at length. Actually, my very first singing teacher, and a lot of what I'm sharing with you, I learned as a singer. It was a singer with the New York City Opera. And she had a fellow opera singer who would spend at least 5 minutes before every performance backstage yawning, like a 5-minute long yawn to open up that space, that mouth resonance. And I think the reason he may have done it is not simply to get that resonance so that his voice sounded better, but also to help with nerves before the performance. And remember, sip water throughout the day. Keep those vocal cords hydrated. Okay, so warm up your voice. Hum, talk quietly. Sing vowel sounds at a low to moderate volume. Ah. Listen intentionally to text that you then repeat slowly and clearly. And wake up your lips with tongue twisters. So let's have some fun. You've been sitting there listening to me, hopefully taking some notes. I invite you to repeat after me. 33 thirsty, thundering thoroughbreds, thump Theo Thurber on Thursday. Now let's say it all together. 33 thirsty, thundering thoroughbreds, thump Theo Thurber on Thursday. And this is a particularly good one to use if English is not your native language, because the th sound does not occur in many languages. And for people who are not native speakers, this is one of the sounds that you need to conquer. So here's another with L's. Lots of little London lamplighters lit lots of little London lamps. So let's say that together. Lots of little London lamplighters lit lots of little London lamps. Now you can play around with these if you've written them down and start saying them slowly and then gradually increase the speed. Lots of little London lamplighters lit lots of little London lamps. 6 sleek swans swam swiftly southward. As you can tell, I had a little trouble with the word swiftly. And practicing these really helps warm up your lips and helps you also with your enunciation so that you are speaking your words clearly enough so that people can understand them. 11 benevolent elephants. Oops. And now we skipped right on after the elephants because they are very benevolent and don't mind to some vocal don'ts. And some of these might surprise you. Don't yell. Yelling is really hard on your voice. Don't smoke. I think the whole anti-smoking campaign is all wrong. Nobody thinks that they're going to get the cancer or the emphysema or whatever is going to kill them eventually. Long before that happens, you get wrinkles, you get squint lines around your eyes, you get bad breath, your clothes stink, your breath stinks, and it badly affects your voice. Avoid ice water. Your vocal folds, your vocal cords do not like being doused with ice. And when I go out to a restaurant, when I used to be able to, I would ask for water with no ice. Now, it always ended up coming cold because they poured it off of a pitcher that had ice water, but at least it didn't have the ice. Now, this is a corollary to don't yell. Avoid talking over a loud TV, music across rooms, or in a crowded room. If you're in a crowded room and you want to talk to somebody, go right up to that person. If it's really loud, you may have to talk right into that person's ear to be heard. Avoid cough drops with drying ingredients. Now, this is really going to shock you, such as menthol and eucalyptus. It is really hard to find a cough drop that does not have menthol because it's supposed to have that wonderful, refreshing flavor. Well, that nice cooling flavor, according to the studies I read when I was studying to become a voice actor, was the menthol stripping the protective coating off of your vocal folds. And my nutritional advisor said that eucalyptus, while it's good for many other things, is not particularly good for your vocal folds. So now let's just quickly review the 3 key factors we looked at regarding how your voice sounds, how to improve the sound of your voice. This is the first part of what I'm sharing with you today. We talked about how your body is your instrument, that your pipes, that you've got to keep your pipes supplied with a lot of good air to sound good. And we talked about some vocal do's and don'ts. But there is a challenge, because you can have a really resonant voice, but there are some things that ruin the sound of a presentation. A flat, boring tone of voice. Mumbled or garbled speech that's hard to understand. An unpleasant sounding voice. Speech that's too soft to hear. Speech that's too loud to be comfortable. Speech that's either too fast or too slow. And people vote with their feet. This auditorium was full when whoever it was started speaking, and look at it now. So, what's the cure for these vocal woes? Vocal variety. Now, what's vocal variety? That's something I learned when I was studying to become a voice actor. And if you don't know what a voice actor is, that's somebody whose voice you hear when you don't see the actor. So voice actors voice cartoons and commercials, and at the airport they tell you to watch your luggage and not take anything from strangers. Those are voice actors. And in order to get the meaning across, remember how important tone of voice is? This whole section I'm sharing with you is how to really improve the tone of your voice. Use the tone of your voice to get your meaning across much more effectively and engage the eager attention of your listeners. So basically, there's 6 different aspects of vocal variety. And again, I invite you to take notes here, because this is stuff that there's so much detail here that it's going to be hard to remember. So take notes. First of all, there's pitch. And we think of pitch as the musical notes of your voice when you're singing. But it actually affects and means pitch when you're speaking. It's the intonation, the rising and falling of your voice when you're speaking. Now, in English, when we tend to ask a question, we tend to have rising intonation. So what did you say? And if we're making a statement, it tends to be falling. I said that we're talking about pitch. Now, one of the things I invite you to be really careful about when you make statements. Sometimes when people have a statement with falling intonation, they also lower the sound of their voice and go much softer. And I actually had to speak to somebody about this who was giving a lot of talks and a place where I go often, and I had to make this suggestion. I said, when you say the page number and the number is the last thing, please turn to page 35. Don't get soft when you say the page number. It doesn't help. If you're going to ask people to turn to page 35, say the 35 loud enough so that people can hear it. So be careful about using pitch in statements. Now, here's a surefire method for boring your audience. Oh dear. Speaking in a monotone instead of varying the pitch of your voice. Now, this happens a lot when people go and stand up and read a speech. They stand up and they read it like this, and they don't vary the sound of their voice because they are reading the text and they are boring. So you need to vary the pitch of your voice. So how do you do this? What are some characteristics that can help you vary the sound of your voice? One is speaking very clearly, which we tend to do hopefully most of the time. The other thing is to speak in a gravelly tone of voice if you want to, emphasize something. Sometimes you want to be breathy and constricted, velvety. Now you're going to feel pretty funny playing around with this, but if you stick, different sounds like this, different pitch characteristics in periodically, when the topic calls for it, you will really wake up people's ears and get their attention. And as Dr. Seuss said, Why fit in when you were born to stand out? So if doing some things that kind of sound stupid to you at first, stand out. Get people's attention. Use the tone of your voice to be a powerful and effective communicator. So this is much easier. These others are much easier. Tempo is speed or pacing. You can periodically speak very fast if you want to get through something. Sometimes, if it's something you really want to emphasize, you can slow down. And then there's the moderate pace that most things are spoken at. And most interesting of all is if you can vary it, depending on the meaning you want to get across. Now, another thing that's easy to control is the volume with which you speak and say things. You can use your moderate, regular speaking voice, just as if you were talking to a friend who's nearby. You can speak loudly as if you were yelling to somebody across the room. Now, it's okay to do this. Remember, I said don't yell, but it's safer to do this if you make sure to take a very big breath before you do it, so you're not damaging your vocal folds. Now, sometimes you want to speak really softly. In fact, one of the ways to get the attention of an audience that's not listening too well is to start speaking softly. And so people have to lean forward to really hear what you're saying. And then, of course, varying it from moderate to loud to soft helps keep the tone of your voice interesting. Now, there's something else called placement. And this is something that you just do naturally, depending on what part of the country you're from. Whatever is your normal placement feels normal to you. Now, some languages really resonate or come from the back of the throat. For example, German is a very guttural language, and the sounds of German basically come from the back of the throat. The front of the mouth is where Italian is spoken. And to be a really effective communicator and have that resonance come through in your speaking and singing, that's the ideal place to place your voice. And it took me years of practice to move from my Michigan normal to the front of my mouth when I was singing, and I try to do it all the time when I'm speaking as well. In fact, one of the reasons that even people who have no vocal training at all in Italy sound so well when they sing is because they are used to speaking from the front of their mouths. And then, of course, there's a very unpleasant nasal placement, which really is irritating when you have to listen to it for any length of time. But, of course, there are some songs and sounds in French that are nasal where it's appropriate to use a nasal tone. Bonjour, bon, bon, bon. But the French nasal sound is nowhere near as irritating as the English nasal sound. So let me talk about the power of the pause. It's really powerful. And when would you use it? It gives the audience time to digest a particular idea. When you say something that's really important and you want it to sink in, pause. And also, pauses are very helpful when you indicate a transition from one thought to the next. Say you are sharing 3 different ideas with the audience, and you conclude the first one, and you pause. Now, the second idea that I would like to share with you, and blah, 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 blah. Then it can add a sense of drama to your presentation. And then, and everybody's eagerly waiting to find out what happened after the then. And it gives your audience time to think about a question you ask or pose. You know, it really irritates me when somebody asks a question and then doesn't give me time to think about the answer. Think about that. If you are going to ask your audience a question, give them time to think about the answer. It adds to the power. And if you're in an enrollment conversation with somebody, this is an important time to pause. if you're going to be talking to somebody about some problem that you help them solve, and you want to ask them something about that problem, you can, give them time to answer. So if you're asking them, for example, what kind of effect do you think this has had on your results? Give them time to think about it. If you burst in there with, well, it could do this, that, and the other, you are not finding out what their real issue is and whether or not you can help them solve it. And they don't feel that you really want to understand where they're coming from. And it creates suspense as to what will come next. That's part of the drama piece. And this is something that next time you're listening to a comedian tell a joke, they always pause. Comedians always pause before the punchline. If they don't pause, they call it stepping on the joke or stepping on the humor, because that's what helps create the tension that the punchline takes care of. For example, when I was sharing that line of Jerry Seinfeld's about most people at a funeral would rather be the body in the box, pause, than the person delivering the eulogy. That's how afraid they are of public speaking, and that pause gives emphasis to that. So the actor Alan Alda stated, it's the stuff between the lines that make it a great performance. We humans, they say nature abhors a vacuum. We humans abhor a vacuum when we're speaking, and we just keep talking, and we don't allow stuff to sink in. The pause is so powerful to allow stuff to sink in. So remember, reviewing very quickly what we discussed today. First of all, the 3 key factors to consider how your voice sounds, the tone of your voice. We talked about how your body's your instrument, that your vocal folds are your pipes, and they need lots of air to sound well. And we talked about some vocal do's and don'ts to protect the sound of your voice. And then we went into the 6 aspects of vocal variety, so that even the most wonderful tone of voice can be really boring if you just speak in a monotone. So we talked about pitch and pitch characteristics that you can play around with and have some fun with, and the tempo or pacing, the speed at which you speak, the volume, soft, loud, moderate, placement of your voice, front, back, or in the middle, and using the pause. And as Michelle P.W. famously, I want to make this famous, you can't bore anybody into buying from you. And that's both with your message and how you deliver it. So what do you do with all this stuff? Here's my motto. In order to get really good at something, you have to be willing to be really bad at it at first. So think about it. If you've ever taken tennis lessons, after a year or so, do you expect to be able to play center court at Wimbledon? I don't think so. If you've ever, for instance, taken piano lessons, after a few lessons, do you expect to be able to play a Beethoven sonata? I don't think so. So the same goes with how you use your voice effectively. You share an information, mess up, learn, and then repeat. Now, I want to say something about this, because every time you do something new, it takes guts to do it. Everything you want is outside of your comfort zone. Every little bit of growth is outside of your comfort zone. And chances are the first time or the first few times, you're going to mess up. So you need to learn from it and do it again. Now, how do you get yourself to do that? The one thing I invite you never, ever, 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 ever to do is to do something and then go into critical mode. We are our worst critics. First of all, when you do something, especially if it's the first time, the very first thing when you finish, I want you to acknowledge yourself. Give yourself huge credit for going outside of your comfort zone and trying something new. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to say, now what went really well? What do I need to keep? In other words, I don't want you throwing out the baby with the bathwater, as the old saying goes. I want you to look at the good stuff that you need to keep. And then the stuff that didn't go as well as you'd like. Instead of beating yourself up, say, well, how can I make that better next time? When you come from a place of acknowledging this good stuff you do and figuring out how to do it even better the next time, you will be much more willing to do it again and again and get to the point where you have mastered whatever it is you are trying to do. And by the way, if you mess up, perfection is not relatable. Did you see how I had problems with that 6 swans with the S? Did I start crying in my beer? No, I just acknowledged it and went on. Imperfection and acknowledging it calmly and sometimes with a joke is what makes you much more relatable to anybody with whom you are sharing your information or your message. So I invite you to take advantage of my complimentary ebook, Communicate with Confidence. In it are 10 powerful pathways for overcoming your public speaking fears, even if you've struggled with them for years. And when I updated it, I added an 11th pathway, how to get your nerves to serve you instead of sabotaging you. And you can find that, a link to that, both on my booth at the expo and also at vibrantvocalpower.com. It's my website, /best you. When you add the best you on it, I know that you came to me from the Best You Expo. And that's, by the way, when you have gifts that you want to give out and when you want to track where they come from, you want to have a particular link for that particular place. So that is my international best-selling book, Communicate with Confidence, 10 Powerful Pathways for Overcoming Your Public Speaking Fears. And the idea is that it will enable you to attract new clients and score more sales when you can communicate more effectively. And I use that word with confidence because one of the things that people have said to me all the time, I want to feel more confident. Now, one final thought about confidence. It's perfectly natural to have some nerves and fear before you speak in various situations. Don't beat yourself up. People feel that. And what's interesting is sometimes you can feel perfectly comfortable in some situations and really nervous in others. Now, for me, I grew up feeling kind of comfortable speaking in public. I would get a little nervous, but picking up the phone and calling people, my first networking event I went to, I was what I call a wall hugger. It took me a lot of work to get to the point where I gotten comfortable with being at networking events or picking up the phone. So whichever area of communication or public speaking, which remember is anytime you talk to somebody other than yourself, whichever area that you have problems with, these areas are areas where this report will help you with dealing with some of those fears. So we have some time, I believe, for Q&A.
Yes, we do. Marjorie Salson, that was just fantastic. We're making notes here, and as a brand consultant, I can really relate to a lot of what you're saying. And you're right, public speaking is indeed one of the number one fears, but it's in every aspect of life, and being able to learn about it is so important. We spoke about vocal variety, the volume, pace, pitch, and tone, and so many, the body being your instrument, and posture and breathing. All these things are so crucial. I see 2 amazing books behind you. I would love for you to tell us what those are about.
Okay, let me go grab them. Can you still see me? Because
you can.
Yes,
All right.
yes, we can.
All right, let's see. All right. Anyway, all right. So this one, and I can't see the, I can't see the camera. So is this in a
We
good
can see it.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So
Yes, we can.
this is in fact my number one selling book, Overcome Your Public Speaking Fears, and empowering business owners to overcome speaking fears, whether you're speaking to one person or 1,000. And this is a really fun book. It's what's called an aha book. And there are a bunch of, it's very short little things it's a very fast read. And there are a bunch of what are called aha statements.
Uh-huh.
And the idea is that you can read it through and make some notes about the things that really resonate with you, and then read it again a few weeks later and see what else. Also on the back is my caricature, which I really love, and I think she's so cute. And there's one thing I say about my caricature: she never ever has a bad hair day. And I will confess that one of the things that I always pray for before I start to speak is that I have a good hair day. Now,
You're having a good hair day today.
Yeah, well, yeah, I just went to the beauty parlor on Friday. What can I say? Anyway, this other wonderful book, America's Leading Ladies. This was put together by a wonderful editor, Pat Sampson, who went around and found all these wonderful women. And I was so honored when she asked me to be in this book because, as you had mentioned earlier, I'm in there with Oprah Winfrey and Melinda Gates and a ton of other wonderful women. And it's a really wonderful book. And the link to get that book is also on in my booth at the expo. And it's so inspiring to read these stories because every single woman in that book is somebody who has had a big challenge that she's had to overcome. And as I alluded to earlier, my challenge was communicating. And my very first business coach said, your mess is your message. Well, when it came to communicating, I was a big mess. As I said, I didn't even speak till I was 4 years old, and I was a shy introvert, and I had a really hard time speaking up. So with years of work and to get to this place, I want to help other people come into the power of their voice, not only to have their voice be an effective instrument to use, but also have the courage to use it.
I love that, Madry. And especially when you made the point that we will make mistakes, right? But don't become overwhelmed by them. Just move on. Life happens. And that will really help people to relate to you more, because that's the whole thing, right? We're imperfect people. And, that's why it's so important to be informed and work with people who are experts in their respective field to help us. And there's so many people, leaders around the world, that a lot of people don't know had a difficulty with speech. And if they can overcome it, then so can we all. So I think that's very important as well.
There's a
Absolutely.
wonderful story I have to. Do we have time? Do I have time to share?
Yes.
Okay. One of my friends who happened to be a mentor for me in a program I was in has an avocation as a juggler. And he said something very interesting. When he went to juggling school, the very first thing that his teacher said, you will drop something. You will drop something. And if you've ever seen a juggler juggle, and what he told them is they needed to be prepared with something that they could say when they dropped something. And if you've ever seen a juggler juggle who drops something, think about how the audience reacts. They don't boo. They feel badly for the juggler. They go, and when the juggler picks up things and starts juggling again, the audience applauds. People are with you when you make a mistake.
Yeah.
They have compassion. It's two things. First of all, they do feel a little badly for you. If you've already created a good relationship with your audience, on some level, and you can be, either make a joke or take it easily, or kind of shrug your shoulders, make a funny face, whatever. They really admire that. And the other thing to remember, given that public speaking is the number one fear on the list of fears, they're so glad it's you up there and not them.
Right.
Right.
That is so true. And Margaret, the other thing too is they want you to succeed. They want you to do well, because they're giving up their time to listen to you. They genuinely want you to do well. And I think that's an interesting and important perspective, because oftentimes the speaker is so worried about, them not feeling that way. But once they know that they actually want them to do well, it's so important. And Madri, you mentioned also the breakdown of communication. 55% depends on how you look and behave, 38% how you do it, and only 7% on what you actually say. So the fact that you communicate more with body language, it's so important to ensure that you synergize, your message is consistent across all, body, vocal, and everything, and keeping it real, as you said.
Yeah, it's amazing if you think about it.
I'm so happy you're able to share with your clients and to be here today at the Best You Expo to share your knowledge and experience. And that's something that comes with time. Experience doesn't happen overnight. And so that's why I was particularly excited to hear what you had to share, and the whole thing is our message is delivered in a short window. It's not always based on facts, because people don't know us, right? It's based on what we present and how we present ourselves, which is so important to make that investment in us to improve on the areas that we really need to improve on. And that's why your books are doing wonders for so many. And I'm certainly going to get a copy for myself.
Me as well. I'm going to check out your booth immediately after this. And not just delivering the message in such a short time, but you deliver it so entertainingly. I was laughing throughout, especially the different voices you were making.
Yes.
You were showing us with example. And when you were talking about the breathing exercise, I was actually doing it with you. So it was
good. Well, it's interesting. When you breathe, if you put your hands on the sides of your ribs and take a breath, you can feel when your rib cage is expanding. It's really, really important. And one of the things when you're nervous before you're going to speak, if you focus on your breathing and like count into the sound, count of 6 or 8, and then breathe out, you feel your nerves in your body. So you use your body to help you deal with your nerves. And by the way, let me share one thought about using your nerves to serve you instead of sabotage you. When you feel nervous, you're feeling this energy running around your body. It's your mind that interprets what that energy means. And fear and excitement are two sides of the same coin. So you can interpret that energy as fear, but you can also interpret it as excitement and use that energy, because we have all heard speakers who have absolutely no energy in what they say and they are boring. So use that energy to add excitement and enthusiasm and interest to your voice.
Absolutely.
Sure, definitely.
That is so true. And it's such an overwhelming feeling too. It's a fight or flight fear.
Absolutely.
Right? Where you're either gonna, give into it, or you're just going to feed your mind with positive thoughts that you can do this, you will do this. And the breathing is also important, because that's an exercise I do before I speak. And it's always very helpful just to find your center and just to focus on what it is you need to do, and to really just go and do your absolute best. But when you equip yourself with the knowledge that you're sharing, then you're ahead of the game, and I always believe, even initially when we started Sarisha and the Madri, we had some glitches, but that's life. And one of my favorite quotes is by Michael McGriff that says, "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape." That is so important. You've got to have flexibility. It's life, right? And just like public speaking, you will have challenges. So,
Absolutely. By the way, I want to share one last little trick.
okay.
Everybody
Yes,
gets nervous in different ways. When I have to do something that's making me nervous, no matter how well hydrated I am, my mouth gets so dry, it feels like the Sahara Desert. And a lot of times there isn't a handy glass of water, or you're in the middle of something and your mouth gets really dry. Here's a trick you can use. When you rub your tongue on the roof of your mouth, it gets the saliva going. Now, don't do it, you do it subtly, but try it.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, that's my favorite one, and it's the one I need because there are some things that still make me nervous. Yeah. Just because I'm a communication coach and this is what I love to do and what I love to share with people doesn't mean that I don't sometimes get nervous. Right. And I do. And so a lot of the stuff I'm sharing with you is stuff I had to learn myself. Right. That's why I told you your mess is your message. Right.
Yeah. And Margaret, too, we all respond to fear in different ways. And I think it's important to know that, this anxiety and fear will help to keep you on your toes. You just need to know how to channel the fear to ensure it's for you and not consume you. This has really been wonderful, Madry. I mean, I've learned so much and reminders, I'm sure, for our viewers and many things we learned and picked up. Thanks to you. And thank you, Marjorie.
Yeah. By the way, how long will this video be up and available? I want to share it with the link with people in my.
You'll get an email. Get an email as soon as it's up.
Yes, we'll get all that information to you and encourage them to visit thebestYouExpo.com. And I'm sure our team will reach out to you, Madry, and give you all that information so you can.
Good.
It will be up on your speaker page soon.
Yes, thank you so much. We're going to go to a commercial and then we'll have Dr. Cheryl Wood join us. And that's going to be also exciting. Take care, Madry. See you soon.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
People want to be the best, become the best, learn from the best. That's why in 2021, The Best You TV will bring you its new TV series that will feature the top and the best speakers, coaches, authors, and mentors. Coming soon to The Best You TV. Hi, I'm Bernardo Moya, founder of The Best You. Are you a motivational speaker, an author, a therapist, a coach, or a business guru trying to raise your profile and reach a global audience? At The Best You, we've been building our brand for many years, helping those in the world of personal development get their message out there through The Best You Expos, The Best You Magazine, and The Best You Online. And now we're looking to grow our community even more. We've recently launched The Best You TV, available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google Play. So now by partnering with us, you can get your show on The Best You TV, you can contribute to The Best You Magazine, add your courses to The Best You Online, and join us at one of the Best You virtual expos happening around the world. Expand your brand and join a growing community that believes that everyone deserves a life without limits.
The Best You is leading the way in the industry of personal and professional growth. Through our magazine, expos, e-learning, TV, club, and awards, The Best You's objective is to help people achieve their dreams, to do more, to be more, to live a life without limits. Join us if you believe in helping and inspiring others, in changing the world, in making it a more just and fair place through education and inspiration. Our goal, everyone, everywhere, now. If If you are interested in making a difference, working, partnering, volunteering, supporting, or even licensing the best you, let's talk. Let's work together and make the world a better place.
The well-being industry is worth $3 trillion. Hi, I'm Bernardo Moy. I'm the founder of The Best You, and I wanted to share with you my vision, my dream, the concept of The Best You. The Best You is a multi-platform, global platform. Our first thing is The Best You Expo. Now, we've been doing this for the last 5 years, and over these last 5 years, we've had close to 70,000 people attend, and we promoted more than 700 speakers. Because we filmed every single event, we have more than 700 talks from world leaders, all in one library of content. The really exciting thing about The Best You is our growth strategy. Look, we're going to be running expos all over the world. We've done them now in London and California. We're exploring about running them in Miami. We're looking at running them in Canada, in Mexico. It's just the beginning. So this business model where we will license the Best You Expo will enable us, will allow us to attract more and more speakers, to attract the biggest brands, to attract all the thinkers that will want to be involved, not only in the local, but in the international reach and approach that we have. This will provide us phenomenal revenue and so much content through all the talks and all the different partners that we will have around the world. And there's so many opportunities for people like yourself, for you to be able to get involved in The Best You now. Thank you so much.
What is life? What is life? Your life isn't just about what you're doing now. Your life is the sum of every hope you ever had and everything you ever wanted to be. Life is about the situations you deal with, how you get to where you want to be, and how you become who you want to be. Life is a collection of moments and memories. Life is about being alive, feeling alive. Life is about dealing with whatever fate throws at you. Life is about staying on top when things are challenging. Life is about enjoying yourself, about finding yourself, about leaving a legacy. Life is about looking and feeling good, about staying ahead. It's about being the best you. What you want, what we all want, is a life without limits. So why don't you be the best you?
Welcome back, everyone. So now we have our next speaker is Dr. Cheryl Wood. Her topic is 10x Your Purpose and Profits by Unleashing the Power of Your Voice. Now, I'd like to introduce her. Dr. Cheryl Woods is an international empowerment speaker, TEDx speaker, 13x best-selling author, and America's #1 developer of transformational women speakers. She equips women with the tools to unleash the power of their voice, transform lives globally with their story, and monetize their knowledge, experience, and expertise. Dr. Wood has trained countless women, entrepreneurs, and leaders across the United States and abroad in South Africa, India, France, Kingdom, Canada, and the Bahamas. She empowers women to face their fears, get over their comfort zone, take calculated risks, and pursue their big dreams in order to create a life they're in love with. That sounds wonderful.
It does sound wonderful. I'm excited to hear this talk.
Absolutely. So we'll go to a quick break, commercial introduction from her, and then Cheryl Woods will join us.
Who will impact the world next? The speakers at our very first Best Youth Global, that's who. Are you a young powerhouse between the ages of 8 and 20? Then this expo is just for you. Join us on June 12th and 13th as a global influencer or global innovator and share your story, your influence, your journey to make and market your creativity, or just share your inspiration. All speakers will have automatic access to the Best Gen Zone. This is where the Best You Expo has free offerings and discount coupons just for your generation. For more information and to register as a speaker, go to thebestyouexpo.com today.
Welcome, Dr. Cheryl Wood. It's an honor to have you here with us.
Absolutely, Dr. Cheryl Wood. We are certainly looking forward to what you have to share today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I enjoyed Marjorie, listening to all of her expertise, and I am certainly excited about pouring into the attendees today.
Absolutely. And one of the things we know we can always depend on you is to be on time, organized, and ready. So thank you very much on behalf of our producer and the team. It's great for you to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Laura. Thank you so much. I appreciate that introduction. Thank you so much to the Best You Expo. Isn't this just amazing? It is reinvigorating. It is empowering for our spirits and our souls. And we need this, especially in a time like we're experiencing now all across the world. So first, let me celebrate each and every one of you that you made time to come and get your spirit and your soul fed, to come and get reinvigorated, rejuvenated, and re-energized. I am so excited about this opportunity to talk to you about a subject that is so near and dear to my heart. It has literally transformed the trajectory of my life. And here's what I need every one of you to repeat to yourself. And I need you to personalize this, okay? I am sitting on what someone else is waiting on. Ooh! Now, when you hear me do that, when you see me say, ooh, it means I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying it, because these are the affirmations and the mantras and the things that I remind myself of every day so that I get up and I make my life bigger than me. Every single one of us has something to say. We have a unique perspective. We have our viewpoint. We have things that we've gone through in this life that we have learned so much from. And it is our responsibility to come back and to share that knowledge with someone else. So acknowledge that, yes, someone somewhere in the world is waiting on the very knowledge and information and expertise that you are sitting on. And secondly, acknowledge that there is purpose, there is transformation, and there is legacy that is connected to your voice. Let that really resonate in your spirit for a moment. There is purpose, transformation, and legacy that's connected to my voice. Somebody somewhere in the world is waiting on you to show up and share what you know. And some of that is going to be based on good experiences and highs that you've had, those peaks that you've had and triumphs. But some of those things are going to be based on the potholes that you fell into. It's going to be based on the failures that you had. And what happens when we make a decision to unleash the power of our voice, we allow someone else to know, number one, that they are not alone in whatever pain they might be currently experiencing. And number two, that there is hope for greater, for better, for more on the opposite side of any pain that they're currently experiencing. And that pain might be related to whatever it is that you have a core expertise in. It might be related to relationships. It might be related to health and wellness, or image, or productivity, or for me, speaking and sharing with people your voice, or maybe it's finances. Whatever that thing is, don't ever diminish or discredit the value and the importance of your voice. That means from this day forward, you can no longer give yourself permission to stay in the back of the room. Today, to become the best you, to truly make your life bigger than you, to 10x your purpose, which can lead to a 10x of your profits, it's going to require that you come to the front of the room. And I get it. For some of you, that's going to take a whole new level of courage and tenacity and boldness and confidence that maybe you don't think you have, but I see it in you. I know you have it. And sometimes we just need to come to spaces like this, to the Best You Expo, to be reminded of what's inside, to be reminded that, yes, there's more that you can be doing, because there is a quote that says, if it is not growing, it is dying. Ooh, if it is not growing, it is dying. And all of us want to consistently grow, which means we've got to push ourselves to keep using what we know to help someone else. So I want you to make that decision today, that my voice matters and that I will no longer keep it on mute. I will turn up the volume on my voice so that I can touch and impact and transform lives all across the world, not just in the UK, not just in the USA, but globally. There's a quote that I live by Tony Robbins, motivational guru. And the quote goes like this: a real decision is measured by the fact that you've taken a new action. And if there is no new action, you have not truly decided. Did you really let that sink into your subconscious? That if you have not taken a new action, you have not truly decided. So you've come here to the Best You Expo, but have you really decided that you are going to be the best you for 2021? That you are not holding back? As women, especially, we are often taught as young girls to be seen but not heard. I challenge you for 2021 and beyond to unleash the power of your voice, to unveil what you know, and to be seen and heard. Why? Because it is for someone else's transformation. It is for someone else's elevation. Now, you might see me now and you might say, wow, this woman with all this energy and excitement, and she's so confident and she's so this, and the bio is so sexy. It really is. Like, I tell people now, I'm in my sexy chapter 11 of my journey. What that means is I am 11 years into this journey, but trust me, it did not start here. It did not start with Dr. Cheryl being an international speaker and traveling to South Africa and India and France and UK. It did not start there. In fact, just 11 years ago, in 2009, I actually sat in a cubicle, a 10 by 10 cubicle every day. I went to a corporate job as a legal secretary. Can you believe that? Like, everything in my spirit says, Cheryl, you should be running your mouth somewhere and getting paid very well for it. But I didn't know that then, because I kept myself hostage to what was familiar and what was comfortable for me. I kept myself hostage to a space that felt safe and secure. I was depending on this thing called direct deposit. And instead of placing all bets on me, I was comfortable being uncomfortable. And it wasn't until I was willing to disrupt what was normal for me that I would ever create transformation in my own life and create legacy. If you look up the word legacy, it is something that you pass down. I believe that your purpose and your legacy are directly intertwined, because your purpose is about other people. We talk about passion and purpose. Passion is the thing that nurtures your spirit. It makes you feel alive. That's how I feel every time I get to take a platform such as this. I feel alive inside. It's like, oh my God, yes, this is what I was born to do. And it makes me feel amazing that I'm living full out in this life. But my purpose is when I now impact someone else's life. That is also connected to legacy, because legacy is what you pass down. You have the power to pass down hope and inspiration, empowerment and motivation, education, information to other people that becomes a permanent part of your legacy. And I know all of us want that. So in 2009, when I was still sitting behind that desk as a legal secretary, shuffling papers, trying to figure out what was my greater purpose, what was going to be my legacy, because I knew internally that wasn't it. I knew it was something bigger and broader. The question was, what is it? How do I find it? And once I found it, how do I actually go into this space and master it so that I'm impacting the lives of masses of people? Well, for me, the journey was about disrupting my norm and just doing something different, something I had never done before. So in 2009, I started a mommy t-shirt business called Moms Are the Best. Now, here was my thought. I didn't just want to chase money in business. I wanted to chase purpose. I wanted to chase passion. I wanted to feel nurtured inside. I wanted to feel like I was making a difference in the world. I wanted to be the best me. So I started this business based on something I was most passionate about in that moment. At the time, my kids were 2, 3, and 5. Yes, I'm now a mom of 3 teenagers. I can't even believe it sometimes, but it is what it is. But at the time, 11 years ago, almost 11 years ago, my kids were 2, 3, and 5. They were still toddlers. And I wanted 3 core freedoms. I wanted time freedom, I wanted financial freedom, and I wanted creative freedom in my life. The job that I was on was never going to offer me that. So I had to take matters in my own hand. In my bio, I talk about creating this life that you're in love with. And a part of that is taking a risk. A risk is nothing more than something that scares you. You're taking this chance on something that doesn't have any guaranteed results. But that's the only way you get to the greater side of who you're meant to be, is by taking the risk. So I took a risk. I started the t-shirt business, and I still kept my full-time job because I had expenses and household finances that I had to pay, right? Like all of us do. I had to contribute to the household finances. And I kept my job while I would go out on the weekends. And on the weekends, I would sell these mommy t-shirts. I didn't know in the moment of starting that business that that was going to be the thing that detoured me into my life's purpose. I didn't know that 18 months later, after starting that t-shirt business, that I was going to get a phone call that would literally shift the trajectory of my life. So I get a phone call from someone on the other end who says, Miss Wood, I wasn't even Dr. Wood then, I was Cheryl Wood, Mrs. Wood. It said, Mrs. Wood, we heard about your t-shirt business, your mommy t-shirt business. We love what you're doing. We would love for you to come to our conference. And this was someone from Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland, which was my hometown. And they said, we'd love for you to come to our women's conference. And we want you to teach other moms in the community how to start their own businesses and become mompreneurs. And I just love the sound of that, mompreneurs. So I was like, I like that. But you know what I said when they called me and asked me that? I burst out laughing. And I said, well, clearly you're dialing the wrong number. You're not looking for this Cheryl Wood. Because at the time, I was not a speaker. That wasn't on my radar. I didn't feel like I had a story to tell. I was still trying to figure my own mess out and how do I create this life I'm in love with. So I didn't feel like I was qualified. And here's what I need all of you to understand and take note on, that you get to unleash the power of your voice and share your story, even though you don't feel qualified, because being able to transform lives is not about qualification. It is about you knowing internally. You know how you get that instinct, that gut feeling, that it's just that, we're just gonna call that thing inside of you that says you are destined for more. There's something greater. This is what you're supposed to be doing. So for me, I had to get out of my own toxic thinking of, oh, well, I don't qualify to be the speaker, and instead know and understand that I had been called for that opportunity, that it had my name written on it. And I believe that every single one of us in this life, we have our names engraved on global blessings that are just waiting for us to show up. You're not waiting for the blessing to fall in your lap. The blessing is waiting for you to show up, and to show up powerfully and confidently. So even though I laughed when they called and I said, I think you're looking for a different Cheryl Wood, I then quickly disconnected and unplugged the conversation that fear was having in my mind in that moment. And I said, yes. You know what? Yes, I'll do that. I'll come and I'll speak and I'll share my experiences and I'll share my story based on what I know right now. So you are qualified and equipped. You are qualified, in effect, equipped and called, because you are qualified not based on someone else's list, but you're qualified based on your own unique experiences and your perspective and everything you've learned through your real life experiences, through your story. So don't ever question whether or not you're qualified anymore. You are qualified, you are called, and you are equipped to share your voice. Remember, someone somewhere is waiting on what you're sitting on. So I go to the event. It was September 18, 2010. I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm not going to lie. I was so nervous. My palms were sweating and my heart was pounding. My stomach was in knots. I was so nervous. It was my first speaking opportunity. And I'm thinking to myself, are they going to like me? Are they going to get me? Are they going to understand what I'm saying? Like, why did I say yes to this? Sometimes when you're coming to the front of the room, you are going to feel a little apprehension. You're going to feel a little anxiety. You're going to feel a little nervousness, just like Marjorie was talking about before me. Like even myself, I speak all across the world. I've spoken on huge platforms for NASA and the United Nations and Verizon and Capital One and all these amazing organizations. And I still get nervous. Why? Because I understand that I am in the business of transforming lives. And when you are in the business of transforming lives with the power of your voice, that is a responsibility. I take the responsibility seriously, which means I always want to come and show up as the best me every time I get an opportunity to speak into the lives of any audience. I don't care if there are 2 people, 20 people, or 2,000 people. It is a responsibility that I take seriously. And therefore, yes, there's some nerves there. There's a little anxiety there, right? But we do it anyway. So on that day in September of 2010, September 18th, 2010, I showed up and I just reminded myself, Cheryl, show up as the best you. Give them what you know based on what you know right now, based on who you are right now. You don't have to pretend to be anybody else. You don't have to play bigger, try to play bigger than where you are. Just be authentically you. And that actually connects to my 8-step pillar of success when you are unleashing the power of your voice that I'm going to share in just a few moments. So I go to the event, I do the event, I speak, and I know on that day, in that moment, September 18, 2010, that is what I was put on this earth to do. To uplift, empower, elevate other people through my voice, through my oratory skills. All of us have a unique gift. And even if speaking per se isn't your unique lane of brilliance, you have a lane of brilliance, and we can always work on mastering the skill set of you articulating it. That's the easy part. The harder part, the challenging part, is to acknowledge your unique lane of brilliance, to stand up powerfully, humbly, but powerfully to say, this is what I know. And this is what I know I'm meant to share with other people, this experience. Here's what you will hear me say repeatedly, and I want you to jot this in your notes. My story is about me, but it ain't for me. Ooh, there go them goosebumps again. Like, it gets me every time I say it, because it really does allow you to be in a position of being the best you, because you're making your life bigger than you. My story is about me, but it ain't for me. So yes, it's about me because I went through whatever the turmoil was, the challenges, the valleys, the tough parts of life, but I am on the other side as a victor over the very thing that perhaps I thought was going to break me. But it didn't break me. It didn't break you. You're still here. You're still standing. That means you have a story to share. Maya Angelou, she expressed it so beautifully when she said, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. So you have something to say. And now is your time to be seen and heard, to come to the front of the room and to share what you know. So let me give you what I've implemented in my own journey to go from Cheryl Wood, who was a legal secretary for 15 years, sitting in a little itty bitty cubicle, to Cheryl Wood, who started off in this space of selling t-shirts, and who was divinely detoured into a space of using my gift powerfully, my gift of speaking and oratory skills, to be able to impact and transform other people's lives. And now I want to pass that on to you, because again, you don't have to be the most masterful orator to create transformation in people's lives. You can develop that. That's a skill set. Speaking is a skill set. Being able to express ideas, being able to persuade people, that's a skill set that can be mastered like any other skill set. My skill set when I first started in business, I was not a great salesperson, but I hired coaches who could teach me the skill set of selling and being persuasive in my languaging. There are so many things. I was not super big in tech when I first started as a business owner, but those were skill sets that I've been able to learn over the course of time. Speaking is no different. And there is great profitability in speaking. Now, here's what I want you to type in your notes or jot down in your notes. I have the right to serve and sell. Is that good? Especially for my women. I have the right to serve and sell. You do not have to choose one or the other. Women in business, you have the right, you have a birthright to say, I get to serve at a high level, a high capacity. I get to transform lives. I get to be in a space of purpose. I get to shift people's perspective so that they can open their minds up to what else is possible for them. Yes, I get to do that, but I also get to be highly compensated for the work that I do, because there's a value that comes with that. And people are going to want it. They're either going to pay for it, invest in it from you, or they're going to go to your competitor. So you might as well get into the space of serving and selling. There doesn't have to be anything yucky about selling what you know. People are always looking for information. There are about 60, I think it's something like 60,000 searches, information searches on Google, which is just one search engine, every second. Did you hear that number? 60,000 every second. So people are seeking information. How do I make my life better? How do I become a better me? How do I elevate from where I am? How do I do better in my finances, better in my relationships, better in my health and wellness? How do I become a better version of myself? They're looking for it. The question is, can they find you? Or have you tucked yourself away in the back and you don't want to come to the front of the room? Well, now is the time for us to unleash the power of our voice. So let me give you the 8 things that I've implemented that has worked brilliantly with the thousands of clients that I've had the privilege of serving all across the globe to help you to develop your voice more powerfully, more fully, so that it is truly creating impact and transformation. Now, before I do that, I do want to send you over to 2 places. Number 1, I want you to go to my website, CherylEmpowers.com, which I think is kind of scrolling across the screen periodically, CherylEmpowers.com, because there's a freebie there that you can grab. It is my signature story template. I want you to grab that because that's going to help you to identify what is the story that connects to your brand identity, the thing that people are going to know you for. So, for example, one of my speaker coaches is here as a part of the Best You Expo, Lisa Nichols. I love her. I adore her. She's poured so much into me. She'll be speaking, I think, maybe an hour after me, or maybe even directly after me. I believe directly after me on the main stage. Well, Lisa has a story. And if you know the story, there's a reason that you know the story. You know the story because she's been telling the story for the 20 plus years that she's been in this speaker industry. That is her signature story that becomes directly connected to her brand identity. So her signature story is all about being in a space at a certain season in her life where she only had a certain amount of money in the bank. I think it might have been like $11.42. And in order to get $20 out here in the United States, you've got to have $20 in. You can't go to the bank machine and take $5 out or take $10 out. Typically, the bank machines here give you a $20, but you've got to have 20 in to get 20 out. She didn't have $20 in, and therefore she was unable to purchase Pampers for her son, Jelani. Because of that, and because of that season in her life that she was in, which was a challenging season, she had to wrap Jelani in towels for 2 days. And after that, she promised him that they would never be in that financial position again. And that started the shifting of her life and her determination and commitment and drive to do more, create better for herself and her son. How do I know the story so well? How do I know the intricate details of the story and the amount of the money that was in the bank? I know it because that's her signature story that she has repeated over and over and over and over again. So your signature story is going to be how people come to know you. It is going to be the story that you're going to retell, relive, and repeat over and over and over again. But here's the caveat: with the same energy and enthusiasm and passion as though you're telling it for the first time. You're going to be sharing that same story for the next 40 years that you're taking platforms and pouring and speaking into the lives of other people. So I want to help you to get started on identifying what is that signature story. So if you go to CherylEmpowers.com, there's going to be a little pop-up that says, hey, you can get that freebie. And all you have to do is you just have to put your name and email in. And here's the beautiful thing: you get that freebie and then you become a part of my VIP community so that we'll be able to stay connected. And then the second thing is, and you can see this, thank you so much for having this scroll across the screen. You can connect with me on social media at Cheryl Empowers. I hang out on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and Clubhouse. You can connect with me at Cheryl Empowers. So let me give you these 8 steps, this 8-step pillar, this system that I've used that will help you to 10x your purpose with your voice and your profits. Are you ready? You got your notepads ready? Okay. Number 1, mastery. Simply speaking, mastery. So you have to have a mastery over something, some subject matter. You do not want to be a jack of all trades or a Jill of all trades. No, you want to be a specialist, not a generalist. So a specialist specializes in a core area of expertise. What is that core area? What is the thing that you know so well, but not only you know so well, but you are great at teaching it to other people, and it gives you joy in your spirit to share it? What is that thing? So you've got to know that. You've got to have mastery over what your core area of expertise is. You need to develop mastery over platform skills. How are you feeling as a part of this presentation right now? Like, what are some of the emotions that I am invoking for you that you are getting from me through this presentation? Well, what I'm hoping is that you are getting energy, and that energy is contagious and it's rubbing off on you. I'm hoping that you're getting passion and enthusiasm and excitement for what I'm speaking about. I'm hoping that you're getting confidence, but I'm also hoping that you understand that I have mastery over the topic that I'm speaking on, which is why I can show up in confidence. You are experiencing those things because I've mastered the skill set of speaking. Even though, and I learned this from my coach, Lisa Nichols, even though it is my gift, oratory skills is my gift, it still does not give me permission not to master the skill set around the gift. So I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of hours to master what I know. So I need you to really be intentional about mastering speaking. And here, I want you to understand this. There's a difference between talking and speaking. Oh, this is good. Difference between talking and speaking. Anyone can get up and talk. And typically when someone talks, they're simply winging it. They don't have any framework or structure of the information that they're going to present to the audience, which means oftentimes they end up rambling, or the entire conversation ends up about them instead of answering the question that most audiences want to know, which is WIIFM. What's in it for me? So yes, they want to hear your story. Yes, they want to know what you know. But at the end of the day, they want the lessons to be transferred to them so that they can say, what do I get out of this? What do I take from this? How do I get on the path of transformation that I want as a result of hearing what you said? That is speaking. So speaking comes with responsibility. So I need you to work on mastering platform skills, mastering your core message. I want you to master your verbal and your nonverbal skills, master your signature speech and your signature story. Okay. As a part of every presentation that you deliver, whether it's for a small group or a big group, I always want you to remember that you need to always do 6 key things. Are you ready? Number 1, inform. Number 2, educate. Number 3, inspire. Number 4, engage. Number 5, impact. And number 6, influence. Those are the things you want to master incorporating as a part of every presentation that you give. Did I inform them? Meaning I notified them or updated them of something perhaps that they don't already know. Number 2, educate. Did I teach them? Did I instruct them on something specific? Did I give them guidance, techniques, and tools? Number 3, did I inspire them? Meaning making them feel like it's possible for them, not like I'm the lofty speaker and you could never get where I am. Your job is to allow the audience to see themselves in you. Number 4, to engage them. Did you make it interesting and intriguing? Did you have them to do something? Like I've been saying to you, I want you to write this in your notes. I want you to repeat this after me, but I want you to personalize it. That is engagement, so that now this is not just an auditory experience for you, but it is also, it's visual because you see me here and you're experiencing my verbal and nonverbal, my facial expressions, my smile, my gestures. All of those things are my nonverbal. You're hearing me, so you have the auditory, but then the kinesthetic, for those learners, you're also experiencing being able to do something. I'm giving you instructions, a call to action. I want you to write this down. I want you to remember this. I want you to think about this. Let this resonate. Repeat this after me. That's engagement. And then impact, number 5, impact, meaning did you leave a lasting impression? Maya Angelou again says, people will forget what you said and they will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So did you leave that lasting impression? Did you take them on this experience where they laughed and maybe they got a little more serious and maybe they even cried and you took them into deep thought? Like it should be an experience. And last but not least, influence, meaning moving them into action. So number 1 is mastery. Number 2 on the pyramid is clarity. Are you clear? Do you have clarity about number 1, what subject matter you're an expert in? Number 2, that you have knowledge to serve at certain levels. So what is your knowledge base? Does it allow you to serve people who are novice, who are emerging or mid-level, or individuals who are experts or seasoned in whatever it is that you're speaking on? Or do you have clarity about that? Do you have clarity about what your life experiences and lessons are and how it connects to what the audience wants? Do you have clarity about what each audience is looking for. What is it that they desire? What I know here is that most of the individuals who came here are looking to be rejuvenated and re-energized, and maybe they're reinventing themselves and they want to feel refreshed and renewed because 2020 has given us a beating. All of us have experienced really traumatic things in 2020 with COVID and everything that's happening on the world landscape. So you came here because you wanted your spirit to be re-energized. You wanted to be reminded that you can do it, that you have the potential to impact lives and to make great profits doing it. That's why you're here. And because I know that, I'm able to structure my presentation to fulfill the need, what it is that you're looking for, not what I think you need. All right. Do you have clarity about the sense of urgency of which your audience is looking for in terms of moving to the next level? Do you have a specific sense of clarity about the pain that they're experiencing? And do you have clarity about what your solution is for that pain? Very important. And last but not least, under clarity, are you clear about the difference between what I call heart work and wealth work? Heart work and wealth work. Heart, H-E-A-R-T, and wealth. Because some of us are unable to 10x our profits by unleashing our voice because we're categorizing everything and it's all under heart work. What I mean by that is you get to have a distinction between the audiences that you serve. So you may have an audience that you absolutely love to pour into. You love giving to them and serving them, but they do not have the revenue to meet your projections that will keep you profitable in business. Did you hear that? So sometimes we've selected an audience that is unable to invest in what we are offering. Because always remember this, the most successful speakers who are sharing their voice, they're not generating all of their revenue simply from speaking on stages and being paid to speak. There are other ways, there are at least 5 other ways that speakers generate their revenue, and it is not all from paid speaking. So understand that you have to have other offerings, or what I call a DPO. It's a diversified portfolio of offerings that will allow you to work with people after you get off the stage, and they will be able to experience their transformation. Please write this down. Transformation doesn't happen without a transaction. Woo, there's another goosebump. Transformation doesn't happen without a transaction. Let me give you quickly why I say that. Because I could go up the street to my local gym and I could say to a personal trainer, I could say, hey, I want to just overhaul my body. I want those great Michelle Obama arms, and I want a flat stomach, and I want nice abs, and I want my thighs to be toned. And the personal trainer could give me an amazing speech like, oh, Dr. Wood, we got you. We can do this and we can do that. And we can have you with a 6-pack. And they can promise me all of these great things that I can have. But if I do not swipe the credit card, pay the invoice, write the check, guess what? My transformation never begins. All it was a great idea of possibility that never becomes transformation in my life because I didn't invest. It's very similar with you and your customers. When you're on stage, you are in your power zone. You're letting people know what's possible. You're sharing your stories and your past experiences and how it can benefit them. But your profit zone is connected to their transformation. So when you step off the stage, even in the virtual space, when you finish the virtual presentation, it is what you extend to them, which I call an NSI, a next step invitation. You give them an invitation of how they can work with you to get the results that you promised them they could have from the stage. That's a transaction. So their transformation happens when you're in that profit zone because they say yes to investing in whatever it is that you are offering so that you can help walk them into the results and the benefits that you've promised them. Number 3, we have 8. Number 3, visibility. So when you're talking about, we're on this 8-step pillar system of being able to successfully 10x your purpose and your profits by unleashing your voice. Number 3 is visibility. Visibility will always trump ability. Visibility will always trump ability. Visibility is the thing that gets your foot in the door. So you've got to be visible. You've got to be on social media. You have to be doing your Clubhouse and your Facebook Lives, and you have to be communicating and engaging with your audience through your newsletters. And you have to be coming to platforms like this and expanding your reach. That's critical. It's mandatory. It's not even optional. So you have to be visible just to get noticed. Otherwise, you're just an amazing, brilliant person with great gifts, but you are a best kept secret. So visibility will always trump ability. Visibility gets your foot in the door, and then your ability keeps you there. Number 4, credibility. You got to have credibility, meaning what have you specifically accomplished as a result of this blueprint that you have, or this system or process or master plan that you're saying you're going to teach someone else? How has it benefited you? Do you have proof in the pudding? Are you able to demonstrate and show people how you have this step-by-step system or process that can transform their life just like it transformed yours? That's credibility. Secondly, who are your walking, talking billboards? You know, a billboard, you want people who are out here and they are exercising their right to speak about you and your brilliance and how amazing you are. And they're talking about you even when you're not in the room and telling other people, you've got to get connected to Dr. Wood. Oh my God, if you want to develop your voice more powerfully, if you want to be able to wow audiences, even through virtual platforms, Dr. Wood is the coach for you. She's the strategist you need to be contacting, right? You want individuals that you have served so well and they are getting such amazing results that they automatically refer you and tell other people about you, even when they're not getting paid or they're not being asked to. So who are those walking, talking billboards for you? Number 5, transparency. So 2 things you must share every time you take a stage, every time you unleash your voice and you're sharing it on any platform, whether it's live or virtual, whether it's a webinar or a conference or a summit, you've got to share your mess and your success. Your mess and your success. I love that we heard Marjorie talk about that a little bit earlier, how your mess becomes your message. It is so important that you share both, because no audience that's in pain, and remember, the audiences that you are speaking to are either in pain or have a desire that they're frustrated about not fulfilling. So either way, there is some level of dissatisfaction, and you are there to help them realize that you have something that will put them on a different course. A course of joy, a course of bettering themselves, a course of greater, right? So you've got to share mess and success. So write this down. My mess is my connection to the audience. My success is my credibility with the audience. Is that good? My mess is my connection to the audience because it allows them to see themselves in me. Because if I get on this platform, any platform, and I pretend that I've always had it together, that I've always just known what I wanted to do and I didn't have any struggles and it's always been perfect and I don't, suffer from fear or toxic thinking that I have to monitor. If I get up and make any audience feel that way, they are never going to be able to believe that they can do what I've done or accomplish some level of success. Because when they're looking at you, they're wanting what you've accomplished. They want to be where you are. They want to get some level, just like I look to my coaches, Les Brown and Lisa Nichols and Eric Thomas and Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy. And I'm saying, I want to be this household name in the motivational industry. This is what I was born to do. I want to touch the lives of millions. So I have them to look up to, right? But I hear about their mess and their own struggles, which allows me to believe that if they can, I can. That's your job. So that's why you've got to share your messy parts of your story, not just all the beautiful, successful things that you've accomplished. Here's the last 3. Number 6, authenticity. Don't ever try to be a good imitation of any other speaker. Don't try to walk like, talk like, look like any other speaker. If you're really going to walk in purpose and profit, you've got to just show up as the authentic you. And believe me, you will magnetize a core audience based on who you are authentically. Remember this, you're not for everyone, and that's okay. That's why we need everyone to share their voice, because there are going to be some people who hear my voice and they love my energy and this passion they feel. And there are going to be some people who say, oh, she's just a little bit too much for me. I can't do all that energy, right? Maybe I need someone who's a little more monotone, a little less energized, and that's okay. So they will be able to find that person because that person is sharing their voice. There are 7.6 billion people in the world. There's room for you. And everybody else is already taken. So you have permission to show up powerfully as who you are, authentically as who you are. Number 7, consistency. If you want to 10x your purpose and profits, you got to be consistent. Show up over and over and over again. Make sure your core messaging is the same, not scripted, but the same. The overview, the overall idea of what you're teaching is the same. It doesn't change from week to week or month to month or year to year. There's a consistency, which also allows you to develop the credibility. And then number 8, profitability, meaning you can't just sit on what you know. That's what we said several times at the beginning of this presentation, that you're sitting on what somebody else is waiting on. No, now is the time for you to package, promote, and position your offerings. And in closing, I'll give you this, and I'm going to run through this really quickly because I'm down to my last 2 minutes of this presentation. I'm going to give you 7 key ways that you can get on stage, right? How you can 10x. Like, when we talk about 10x, we simply mean multiply by 10 the impact you're already making, the purpose you're already creating in other people's lives, and the profits that you're putting in your bank account. You have the right to serve and sell. You deserve to be highly compensated for how well you serve the world with what you know. So here are the 7 ways that you can get on stage to have more impact on more lives and create greater profits. All right. And then if you want more, if you want to connect, send me an email. Send an email to CherylEmpowers@gmail.com. Just send me an email and just say, I want more. And what I will do is I'm actually going to do like a part 2 of this conversation so that I can take a deeper dive into these 7 ways to get on stage. It'll be a completely free part 2, but because of time, I just can't get into the full gamut of these. So just send an email to CherylEmpowers@gmail.com and just say, I want more. And I'll know that came from the Best You Expo. So here are the 7 ways. Number 1, paid speaking, which means you know what your fee is. A company reaches out, they say, we want to hire you. You tell them what your fee is and they hire you. Number 2, speak to sell, which means the organization may not be able to write you a check. However, you have an opportunity to sell what you're offering to their audience. Number 3, revenue share. When an organization brings you in and they're like, hey, you can sell to our tribe, but we're going to split it 60-40 or 70-30 or whatever their numbers are. Number 4, lead generation. You always need new leads coming in so that you can nurture that interest and sell. Number 5, speaker sponsorships that allow you to craft and negotiate what a sponsorship looks like so that you can get a great return on investment as a speaker for that opportunity. And number 6, pay to play opportunities where you can invest in being on platforms to share your voice, but you can also have a return on investment. And number 7, creating your own stages. I'll conclude with this. Maya Angelou says this: pursue the thing you love doing and do it so well that people can't take their eyes off of you. So get out into the world, pursue the thing that you're amazing at, that you love doing, and transform lives while you're doing it and make great money. Thank you so much.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And let me just start off by saying, I want more.
I love it.
Right. Thank you. Laura, you're...
Can you hear me now, Cheryl?
Yes.
That was fantastic. See, I was so into your presentation that I forgot my mute was off. And it's just not enough time for you to really dive into all the things you shared. However, I must say, you used the time very well. You got your
very well.
You gave amazing tips and things that are applicable that people can. And you even went a step further to offer further guidance and for free. That is remarkable. Thank you so much for that, Cheryl.
Thank you for having me. This has been phenomenal. And I can't wait to jump off and listen to my coach, Lisa Nichols, on the main stage as well. So this has been fantastic. Thank you for the work that you do. We need this. All of us need this.
We certainly do.
Re-energize. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what it is you're doing as well, Cheryl. We all do. And we wish you continued success and to keep the momentum going and to always remember to take care of you as well while you're busy taking care of everyone else. That's something we tend to neglect.
Amen to that. Amen. I'm going to tell my kids that you said that. And tell them.
Oh, yes. 100%. You have to take that time out for you to empower yourself too and keep you going, to keep that beautiful smile and that energy that's just popping that we love. So we'll be in touch, Cheryl. Thanks again. I know you want to go to the main stage, so we're going to let you go so you can listen in to Lisa.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Cheryl.
Wasn't that amazing, Sarisha?
That was amazing.
Really good. At one point, I was like, wow, she has her time slot, but will she get it all in? And she actually did. And very strategically shared for more where you can find her, So I love that. Really, really informative and very useful.
Really informative. And she went through all the points and they were all very informative.
She did. I was making notes so I can remember. And there's so many things that stood out, but credibility is one that really stood out to me because that's what it's about. And building your credibility takes time. You need to be consistent with it. You need to make sure your value systems are aligned with your goals and, associating and creating opportunities for yourself by keeping those things in the forefront. So I'm very happy to hear her repeating these things,
Yes.
reminding us of these things. What was your favorite
And I especially liked her journey, the journey where she went from an employee to a business, and she didn't even realize she had it in her. And so many people out there, especially women, so many women out there have that, they have that energy, they have that potential, but they don't really realize that they have that potential. It takes someone to see it. And
Yes, but
when they do,
yeah, and Sarisha, the other thing too is that we all have a story. I love what she said is mess and success work hand in hand, because if we don't share our challenges and obstacles that we were able to overcome and still probably trying to figure out, then others won't really see us as being real. They won't be able to connect. And I think that's
Right.
very powerful. And, mastering your trade, so you can really have impact, but also not being afraid. I think a lot of women are afraid to share their challenges, for whatever reason it is, fear of criticism, insecurity, just fear in general. But
yeah,
it's so important for people to know that we're just like you, we're imperfect
right.
people and we have our story.
Right, and I think that is a message that was common in both our last speakers. Marjorie talked about it, and so did Cheryl. And the mess is your message, and it's to make mistakes, and it's okay to own up your mistakes and
Yes.
move ahead. It just makes you more relatable. People see you as a human being and not some speaker, speaking down on them. You're one of them, and that does make you stand apart as an amazing speaker.
Absolutely. And I think too, there's a saying, never wish for what others have, because you never know their journey, but rather celebrate in the success of them, but don't be afraid to be uniquely you, in terms of just developing your God-given talent and really focus on being the best version of yourself. And this is what's so wonderful about the Best You. It's all about that, helping people.
It's all about
find
that.
their
Yes.
purpose.
It's
Yeah.
all about becoming the best version of you. And that's why we're doing these expos. And why we're waking up at odd hours. I know that it's an odd time for you. And the previous expos, the ones that were in the US, were odd times for me. And it's about how wonderful these expos are and how much learning we're getting out of it. It's worth it. It's worth waking up at odd hours. It's worth sleepless nights. It's worth, because you get so motivated. You get that drive, that energy when you listen to speakers like this from around the world. And they really push your buttons. They make sure that you get up and go out there and do the work, right?
And they're good reminders too, something else she said, which we both can relate to, and all of us, it's so important. It doesn't matter how great you are or what you do if no one knows about you. So visibility is so important, and having the right kind of associations, getting together with like-minded people will help to keep you empowered too and going. And that's something that I love about the synergy that people have when they stay focused on a common goal.
Right. And that's what it is among all of us as speakers at the Best You as well. We're all a community. We're a tightly knit community of speakers, and we're like-minded people.
Absolutely. I love sport. I've always loved sport because it really helps from an early age to develop some important disciplines, and it's something that has stayed with me throughout my life. But one of the things that, I think about at being at a stadium and supporting a team or whatever it is, and Super Bowl is coming up tomorrow. Well, today, later on, right? But one of the things that I like about it is that when people are focused on a common goal, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter about personalities, about background, about color, about interest. It really doesn't matter. And that is because we're all able to focus on a common goal. And that's so important and powerful, because if we really think about, well, what is life all about anyway? And we're just here to try and do the best we can, support each other and challenge ourselves to be better people, and really invest in ourselves and invest in the relationships around us and celebrate in that. Sometimes it's difficult for people. They tend to compare, I wish I had that, or I wish that could be me. But the truth is, other people are thinking they wish they could be you. So focus on you and do it, because I do believe we have all God-given talent that's uniquely ours. There might be similarities, but they're uniquely ours. And if we discover them and develop them, then we're unstoppable, you know? And this is what it's really about. As Lisa said, and the majority of our speakers and what we can all relate to, it's not about trying to be someone else. It's just all about you and learning and being true to yourself too, because we're not perfect, right? Find the things you can improve on and celebrate the things that we're good at, but don't forget about the things we can improve on. Wouldn't you agree with
the
that?
imperfections. It's the imperfections that make us human. It's the imperfections that also make us relatable.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, I just keep thinking about all the things that, and I encourage people to take notes, right? I hope our viewers are taking notes, because that's called unnecessary stress, to try and remember everything. And when you take your notes, it helps you to retain the information more. But I'm hoping, most importantly, that our viewers will not just listen to what we're saying and what the speakers are saying, but truly apply it to their lives, because we know it works, you know?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, it's very powerful with that.
Right. So let's go for a quick commercial, and then we'll come back and announce some of the winners of the raffle for today.
See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bernardo Moya, founder of The Best You. Are you a motivational speaker, an author, a therapist, a coach, or a business guru trying to raise your profile and reach a global audience? At The Best You, we've been building our brand for many years, helping those in the world of personal development get their message out there through The Best You Expos, The Best You magazine, and The Best You online. And now we're looking to grow our community even more. We've recently launched The Best You TV, available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google Play. So now, by partnering with us, you can get your show on The Best You TV, you can contribute to The Best You magazine, add your courses to The Best You online, and join us at one of the Best You virtual expos happening around the world. Expand your brand and join a growing community that believes that everyone deserves a life without limits.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. And as you all know, we've had quite a few winners. We've had quite a few of our amazing speakers be generous and offer their services as raffle tickets that you could purchase by just enrolling, registering, and showing up for the talks. And many of you out there have won some amazing prizes. So I mentioned a few before the last talk. Here are the rest of the winners for today. We have Paul Lilly, who won 2 coaching packages, one in English and one in Spanish, worth $6,000 by Seymour Johnson and Christina Pujol. We also have Sarah O'Hara, who won a book, a healing session, a healing certificate, and a guest interview from Carissa Sims. Then we have Amanda McCarthy, who has won Coming Home to You, a meditational, transformational 21-day journey from Jana Martinez, which is worth $528. And we have Sarah O'Hara again, who has won a 1-hour life coaching session worth $1,997 from Dr. Faye Wilson. Another winner for today is Dee Michelle, who won 5 Rise to the Top online from The Best You. And we have Alex, who has won 1 speaker slot at the Best You Expo. Wow, from the Best You Expo. That is worth anywhere between $1,900 to all the way up to $5,000. Those are our winners for today. Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations. And please choose them as soon as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know, we had a speaker, Anne-Marie Dubois, who was scheduled to speak, but unfortunately she had a last minute emergency, and she apologizes, and we're really sorry that she's not able to be here, but we do understand, right, that life happens. We just missed her, and we look forward to being able to partner with her again with the so many other different opportunities that the Best You offers. So we're
I'm
looking
sure
forward
she'll
to
be at
that.
the
So I
next
do
Best You
apologize
Expo.
for those who, wanted to listen to Anne-Marie Dubois as well.
Yes, yes. Sorry. I'm sure she'll be there at the next Best You Expo.
Yes.
And stay tuned.
Yes, and it was really last minute because she was ready to go and everything. So, but we
Right.
understand. We understand.
Right. Speaking of unexpected circumstances, the entire pandemic that happened, the entire lockdown that happened was so unexpected, right, Laura?
It
was
really, absolutely, it took us by surprise overnight, and it affected the entire world. I mean, wow, we do have this in common. This will be in our history for a time.
Yes, this will be in our history.
Sure.
But at the same time, I'm sure that we all found ways to overcome it. We found ways to continue life. What did you do, Laura, in times like this? What did you do to change?
Well, it was a shock because my work had me on a plane every other month for weeks at a time between Europe, Jamaica, where I'm initially from, and just traveling here in the United States serving my clients. So that was strange for me to get used to, not traveling. So that was a wake-up call. But, it really helped to realign my priorities in terms of, we're so busy sometimes that we forget the most important people around us, or family, or children. I'm a firm believer of work hard, but never let the role of parenting and being a family member be compromised. So, whereas, sometimes we can become overwhelmed in terms of trying to juggle everything. But one thing I can say, anything we spend time doing now, we're going to be masters at it. So I absolutely enjoyed cooking. And so I started cooking a lot. I started gardening. I started writing more. And in fact, I wrote a children's book, which is different from my university lecturing and corporate training and business consulting and coaching. But I did that because our children need us more than ever. They too, in their own world, have their challenges. And as parents, we love them, so much. And we want what's best for them. So I wrote this book, The Curious Little Dancing Girl, Izzy. And it's all about, my daughter and I sharing stories and what we missed because we were unable to go home to Jamaica to visit family and friends. And that was really hard for us. So we started reminiscing all the wonderful experiences. And so I wrote this book because I wanted parents to have that bond, to be able to read a story with their child or children that they could connect with and relate to. So it focused on the importance of good manners and respect, having a strong spiritual foundation, value of and true importance of family and friends, protecting the environment, and just believing in yourself and not being afraid to be a kid. We don't want you to grow up too fast, even though they're on a mad rush. We've been there, right? But
yes.
Savor the moment of just being kids, so celebrate the moment with them. And my husband and I really started taking time watching films that our daughter wanted to watch. Before we're like, oh, not sure. But now we have. And can I tell you, we're hooked on a lot of the programs.
Kids' movies are amazing. I still love watching Disney movies. I grew up Disney movies. Yeah, and actually, I haven't talked about this much, but my entire ideals of leadership come from The Lion King.
Come from
The Lion King. Disney's
Oh yes,
The Lion.
that was a fantastic one.
It's a fantastic movie, and I think I watched it for the first time when I was 6 years old. As you were talking about your daughter, and as you were talking about the book that you wrote, I was just thinking about this, that most of the beliefs, the values that we have installed in us are around that age. You're between the ages of 0 to 7, and all your programming is done. Your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind gets set during that time. And that's the you need to teach children values. You need to instill the right beliefs, the right values in them. And it's really wonderful what you're doing with the book, because if your book has so many values in it, it would be a perfect read for someone of that age group.
It does. And, I also had to be careful not to make it sound like some educational indoctrination. I had to put the fairies and the mermaids and to still keep them engaged, because kids sometimes, if they think it's another lesson or something. But the other thing that's in the book is knowing your history. So many children, know the history because they have to pass the test, rather than understanding history to be able to appreciate the journey. I think that's so very important. And you're right, Sarisha, the lessons learned are in the formative years, and these are very precious, years. And never be afraid to be a big kid too, and sharing with them and spending time with them, because the classics, not just, my daughter, she loves the animations, but the animated movies and Disney and so on, but she loves Lost in Space and so many other ones that are so good, and Zoo and all these different ones that are really engaging. But one of the things we also spent time doing is outdoor activities. Now, I know it's a pandemic and we're pulled away from our usual, connecting with people in person and so on. But we're still trying to enjoy the outdoors. On a good day here in Texas, not quite like Jamaica, which is year-round tropical paradise, but on good days, we do try to get out and do family activities, because it's all about bonding time. And one of the things I'm doing more of is kissing my little girl. I hugged her and kissed her a lot before, but I'm doing more of that. And you know what I'm getting? I'm getting them back too. For no particular reason, no hidden motive. She'll come and give me a hug and say, Mom, thank you for making breakfast, or thank you for baking with me, something. And it touches my heart, because usually our kids, you immediately think, what are you up to? What do you want? And it's so wonderful, because we are a reflection of our children. What they see us doing is what they're likely to do. And so it's important to set good examples. And so, as you said, what have we done during this pandemic is really to appreciate and value family even more. I'm big on family and loyal to a core, and big on my friends too. If I say I'm a friend for life, But I do.
I resonate with that completely. I have a small group of friends. They know who they are, but yes, I'm very friends.
And I'm sure you can appreciate, you get out of relationships what you put into it. So you really have to invest in these relationships and celebrate their successes. When people around you do well, it should make you feel well, to not tap into the fears of anything else that might be there, preventing you from really enjoying. And just, not taking for granted the air we breathe.
Right. And the worst part of the pandemic was that you couldn't meet your friends anymore. You couldn't have that. I can't tell you how many countless Zoom calls that we've organized just so that we could stay in touch. WhatsApp calls. We're living 2 blocks away, but we still met on call.
Because you see, you're being responsible. You're practicing social distancing. You're doing all that we're guided to do, and that too will help to get us through this, when we all be responsible and hold ourselves accountable. But it's not natural for us not to see people in person. It's so much better to see your face, Sarisha, than just hearing a voice. And I encourage people to wake up with a heart of gratitude, or start a gratitude journal, where you just make a note of all the many things that you're truly, your blessings, the things that you're grateful for, because that's a way to help pull us through this trying time. And I'm so grateful for technology.
Exactly. I was just coming to that. I think the thing that I've got the most gratitude for during this entire lockdown is Zoom and StreamYard and things like this that actually get us connected. So when the pandemic started, I was just mentioning this in my talk yesterday. When the pandemic started, it took me about a week. I think for a week, I was pretty dull, because I had some really good meetings lined up. I had some corporate clients lined up. And the moment this started, it all came to a standstill. And I was just sitting there thinking, what am I going to do with my business now? How am I going to get out there? Because I used to meet clients face to face. I used to say that I need to be in front of you to be able to help you overcome your limitations. And for a week, I wallowed. I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. And then I slowly started telling myself, you can't let this affect you. You can't let this bring you down. You can't let a situation bring you down. And going out there telling my clients that it's what you believe that you're going to achieve. If you say that the market condition is going to affect your business, it is going to affect your business. But then there are businesses that run even when the market condition is bad. So I told myself, okay, the pandemic is here. I don't know how long it will last. But then what am I going to do about it? How am I going to turn things around? And right around that time, one of my clients called us up and said, it's an emergency. I really need your help. And the lockdown was really strict. We couldn't get out of the house. So we did it on a Zoom call.
Mm-hmm.
The intervention went off beautifully. Her problem vanished in a matter of a couple of hours. And then I look at my partner, my dad, who's also my business partner, and we're thinking, wow, this can be done online. This is an opportunity for us. And then I realized within the last few months, my business has gone from a small circle in Mumbai to a larger circle in India. And now I'm at the Best You Expo and it's around the world.
Absolutely. And that is so important to keep in mind. Your reach is far greater now.
Yes.
And as you mentioned, your life changed drastically, and especially for us who are career focused as well and was very busy. I knew I had to create structure immediately. I had to make sure, set up an office space. But one of the challenges for me was, a lot of my consulting took place one-on-one or in large groups. And people are so overwhelmed with the digital world right now. They're overwhelmed with this space, Zoom and all the different platforms. And they're still trying to manage, everything going on at home, because most people, the entire family is home now in most cases. For those who are able to work from home, there's still a lot who have to go out there, and we're thankful for them, and we're grateful for what they're doing. But it really meant we had to get super organized the daughter working and the children working, from online schooling, and then everybody else in their respective places, and turn home into somewhat, your workspace as well. But it really, and also as a certified SCORE mentor, SCORE, as you know, represents the US SBA. And we have a mandate to help small businesses grow and to educate entrepreneurs. But there have been some really alarming statistics there. A lot of small businesses have been hurting. We all have been hurting, but in particular with a focus. And SCORE is a nonprofit organization where people can look us up, score.org, and it's free and confidential business advice. The organization was formed 50 years ago with retired senior executives that wanted to give back and keep their minds engaged. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of us SCORE mentors like myself that's not retired, but we do take great joy in being able to share and help others the way in which we wish we had that help when we started out in business. So it was really a lot of creating structure. I've been lecturing at a few universities from 2003, and let me tell you, trying to keep young minds engaged for 2 hours. I mean, I have them every Friday now until April 2. And I have 700 students. And
is this online?
Yes, online. And every week I have to becoming creative, on how can I keep them engaged? Because we know it's so hard for people to listen,
right.
And sit and listen. And it's just hard. And so every week, I challenge myself, okay, what can I come up with that can still keep them learning, but keep them engaged? So it's really been a time that I have challenged myself to step outside of the box, the norm, and get more creative. And I think that's what it's doing for every one of us. And as I said, whatever we spend time on doing now, Sirisha, we're going to be masters at it. We'll all become great cooks. We'll be great whatever, painters, writers. It's just a time where we're learning more about ourselves as well.
Absolutely. We're learning more about ourselves. We're learning more about each other, the family. We're spending a lot more time with our family. And we're definitely coming up with creative ways of, doing everything. I've started baking during the pandemic. I've started creative ways of engaging audiences. I used to do a workshop called Extreme Persuasion, which used to be an offline only workshop. And I used to take a very small number of people because, like the topic says, extreme persuasion. I literally teach people how to get anyone to say yes to them. And it's an intensive program. We teach them a lot of NLP skills and latest persuasion technology, all packed into a 2-day workshop. And I realized that doing that physically itself was draining. Imagine having people get that much information online. So for a long time, I didn't do it online. But then I had a few of my clients say that they want to attend it. And we tried to create an online version of it. And I had to break it up. Instead of 2 full days, it became 2 weekends where we had 4 hours for 4 days, Saturday, Sunday, then the Saturday, Sunday. And even then, playing around with these Zoom rooms, figuring out ways to keep it engaging so that they don't switch off their camera and vanish the way people normally do. I had to come up with a lot of creative ways of doing that. And thankfully, it all worked out. And the results are amazing. The results are really, really amazing.
That is good. I mean, for me, I do primarily corporate training, staff development training. So we tailor programs geared to each organization's specific needs and align them with the organization's goals. And just empowering people and equipping them with what they need and helping them to identify, their things that they can improve on. And so I've spent a lot of time doing that. And when the pandemic happened, the shift went into cybersecurity training. It went into working remotely, technology support, the stress level. The next pandemic they're saying is likely to be mental health because it's such an overwhelming time for all of us. And we're all affected by stress in different ways, which is why it's important to monitor what's going on in our lives and in our bodies and in our day-to-day, operation, because we need to monitor ourselves to be able to give the support that we need to continue to do what we're doing. But
we most definitely need to, yes.
Yeah. And then we started seeing clients coming back now saying, okay, we need more of the stress management and the conflict resolution and the time management and structural, training that you do. And so I'm excited about that. But it has really challenged me as a trainer, as a speaker, an author, to really step outside of, and I've never been one to be boxed, right? I'm from a country that our motto is out of many one people. My views are very different in that I don't believe we should restrict ourselves to any particular box. We are who we are, and this is our life, and we have the right to live it the way we want to with true purpose. And so it really is a time that I started to think about, what's going on in other people's lives too, and sharing more and listening more to colleagues and starting, doing so many things together, collaborating. You're finding more and more people sharing the same challenges that you have, and they wouldn't have known if you weren't open enough to share, what's going on, and to remain humble in that we're not perfect. And one of the other things that came to mind, Sarisha, is when we're taking care of ourselves, remember time for us. That little time that we carve out in the day to just be for us. Wherever it is, whatever brings you joy and whatever gives you that space to rebuild and nurture yourself is important. And taking care of ourselves in terms of having our vitamins, exercise, eating right, drinking our water, the things that we sometimes take for granted. Let me tell you, I'm from the tropics, right? When I came here and I was doing a lot of work in the United States and in Europe, and it was very cold, I started to go through, feeling a lot of anxiety and stress. And, I thought it was primarily because I was missing home and family, but it wasn't just that. I learned later on, after going to the doctor and saying, listen, do a full check. The results of that I was vitamin D deficient, not getting enough sun. The minute I started taking my vitamin D, everything changed. I felt more energized. I didn't feel the anxiety. So just be aware of the vitamins, the exercise, the rest, getting rest. That was something for me that I lost a lot of sleep. I think we all did when this happened. It was
All
like,
did. We all
what's
did,
going
definitely.
on? What was it like
It's
for
very
you?
important. It's very, very important. I mean, to take care of yourself, like you said, take your vitamins, work out regularly. That's another thing. I started working out when the pandemic started, and then the workload poured in, and I stopped working out. And listening to you now, I'm going to start working out again.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad
But
to hear that.
working out and taking care of your physical body, taking care
Yes.
of yourself mentally and emotionally is very important. Like you said, I completely resonate with that. And I think that the next pandemic would be the mental health crisis as well, because not many people go out there and even acknowledge when they have a problem. There are so many people who won't even acknowledge that they have an anxiety problem or a mental health issue because there is still a stigma around it. I don't know how. I think in the US it's a little better, but in India there is this stigma around going to a mental health professional. Uh, you know, I'm feeling fine. I'm not physically harmed by this, so I don't need to go to a doctor, and definitely not a mental health professional. So that's the kind of problems that a lot of people here have in their thinking. And I'm a licensed NLP practitioner. I learned under Dr. Richard Bandler, and I love the way Dr. Richard Bandler teaches because he puts you in a trance throughout the entire program and teaches you. So, one thing that I'm very happy is that whenever I find a client who has a problem, I instinctively know how to help this person. So, even though I work with business owners, when the pandemic started, I had a lot of business owners coming to me, and the problems were all therapy related problems. Um, had a business owner tell me, I don't feel like working. I know I have a lot of work to do. I just can't get myself to work. Had countless clients that were depressed over the pandemic. And that's a big problem that we're facing. And I know that there are business owners out there. I know that there are people out there at work. There are a lot of women out there who are taking care of their family. At the same time, I know that they're not feeling up to it. And they why they don't even realize that they could be depressed, they could need help. So I just want to tell everyone who's listening to us right now, please reach out if you feel like you're not feeling up to it, if you feel like I don't feel like working, if you feel that there is any change whatsoever in your appetite and your interest in people, your energy levels, reach out to someone, because I know that there are people around you who would be able to help you. Not your friends, not your family, because they might not know how to help you, but please reach out to either a mental health professional, a life coach, a business coach, someone who knows what they're doing.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And, to add to that, though, but not to dismiss what you're saying. Absolutely. If you think it has gotten to that level, do not allow people to dictate your happiness or your life. People are going to say whatever they want to say, no matter what. I think we need to be true to ourselves, that if we do feel we need help, reach out for it, because as you said, help is there. But I also want to add that there's great value in talking to a friend, a family member, having a laugh, expressing your heart to them, and, sharing what's going on. Just having someone to talk to as well can be a huge help. But if you do see other factors that you feel you cannot manage or cope with, definitely reach out to someone, because this is what this time is all about, just really understanding that, one, you're not alone. That's the other thing. Right. We all at some point feel this way. We all feel, at times a struggle to get out of bed and all of that, which is why you have to keep yourself motivated. I keep telling people, focus on your blessings. Think about the positive things in your life. Think about the fact that your life is a gift, and you need to take care of it and nurture it and love yourself as you're prepared to love others. Love yourself and don't feel guilty about doing it, because we too need to empower ourselves. We need to be our biggest cheerleaders, our biggest supporters. And you're right, so many of our clients, whether it be one-on-one coaching that I've done or with companies, they have shared the significant benefit that it has, way in which it has helped people to work better together, understanding each other, understanding themselves, just becoming more aware of what they could work on, and just having these heart to hearts and keeping them motivated. So many of them say to me, Laura, I don't know how you do it, but every time I speak to you, I feel like I can conquer the world, and I'm happy about that. Truly, I am. And then I too have to pull on my inspiration in other ways too. I pray. I believe in the power of prayer, and not being afraid, to speak into the universe what your desires are, to pray, and, and the Lord is there to help us through this. We will get through this. And feeding your mind with positive thoughts is so crucial to be.
It is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, you have to, don't wait for people to tell you look good to feel good. Don't wait for people to tell you you're doing a great job to know you're doing a great job. Just do your absolute best. Work on the things you need to work on, but celebrate the things that you're good at. And, I just think it's so important for us to stay connected with each other. Use technology to your advantage. See people's faces as often as you can. And as trainers, as consultants, as business coaches, we know that training is ongoing. We have to keep our minds sharp. We need to read and we need to be current so we can better serve you. And these are the things we're telling you. Read is so good, so important. Reading and learning and being informed and becoming a master at what you do. And here's the other thing I would say: learn to laugh. You watch that comedy, you have that talk with your friend or your, family member, and you laugh and you enjoy laughter, because right now laughter is good medicine for the soul. It's such
definitely
a time. We have to find those moments of happiness and laughter to keep us going.
Absolutely. Yes. Laughter is extremely important. So one is definitely laughter. Another one, Laura, is what you said. I mean, I would recommend everyone out there get a gratitude journal.
Yes.
And start writing. And sometimes it might seem like you have nothing to be grateful for. Even then, I'm sure you can find, even if it is the smallest thing, like I'm grateful for the roof above my head. It can be as simple as that. Or it can be huge. Maybe you won a big deal. It could be as small or as big as you can think of. But make sure that you don't go to bed without writing at least 5 things that you're grateful for. And you will start seeing that your life is changing. And I'll tell you why it works. Okay, we have something in our mind called the reticular activating system. This is scientific, all right? This actually works in a scientific way, because what you focus on, you start seeing more of.
Yes.
Say you bought a car recently, and haven't you noticed that whenever you buy a new car, you start seeing more of that car on the streets? It's because of your reticular activating system. So the moment you start writing what you're grateful for, your mind starts looking for more things that you can be grateful for, and your entire focus is there. And those will start growing. It will grow from being thankful for the roof above your head, being thankful for the meal that you had today, to being thankful for the friends that you have in your life, to being thankful for the customers, to being thankful for the money that's coming in, to being thankful for the love that's coming in. And it just grows little by little, because your brain then starts looking all over for opportunities to be grateful, grabbing them and showing them to you.
That is so powerful, Sarisha, because like you said, if you go looking for something, you'll find it. Start looking for the good and the positives. And that's partly why we're doing this women's conference in March 26th and 27th. And it's virtual, and you can always reach me on Laura and Margaret Butler on LinkedIn and fusionconsultingja.com. And the event will be on Eventbrite. But this is partly why, because we're bringing 30 amazing women to speak in different areas, business, health and wellness, brand, just so many areas that we know we need to be fed. in turn, the information is going to be phenomenal. And that's partly why we're going to be focusing on the positives and how you can get through this and how you can use this time to improve and make money and, just position for success. So that's going to be exciting as well. No,
I'm excited. I'm super excited about your women's conference.
Yeah. We now have Jen Beck coming up that we're also excited about, and she will have so much to share. Her topic is 3 secrets the diet gurus don't want you to know. Interesting. That's
very interesting. Very, very interesting.
So we're gonna go to a break and then we'll come back.
Yes. Before we go on the break, do make sure that you reach out to Laura Butler. You can find her on LinkedIn, and you can find me on LinkedIn as well, Suresha Ravuri. I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn, and you can find me on my website, www.citrines.in, and let's have a conversation.
Absolutely. Okay. See you back soon.
See you back soon.
My passion is to set people free by helping you transform any area of your life more effectively and faster than anything you've tried before. I do this by unique abilities gifted to me through 2 near-death experiences that allow me to help you change your frequency, changing your life.
People want to be the best, become the best, learn from the best. That's why in 2021, The Best You TV will bring you its new TV series that will feature the top and the best speakers, coaches, authors, and mentors. Coming soon to The Best You TV. What's the best way of somebody managing time?
Well, I don't know if we ever manage time. I think we manage our actions in time because we all have the same amount of time. We call it time management, but it's really our activity management. If a person was to sit down and write down everything that they do in a day and make a comprehensive list of everything that they do in a day within possibly a month, each days of the month, what do they do? And then next to it, put down another column next to it. What is the productivity per hour? How much does it produce per hour economically? And next to that, another column that's how much meaning of inspiration does it provide? And next to that, what is the cost of replacement? If I was to delegate it to somebody, what would I have to pay to have them do that? And next to that, another column is how much time is spent. If we put those 4 columns together against all the things that we do in a day, we'll find out that in most cases, most people that are less productive are doing low priority things. They're majoring in minors and minoring in majors. They're doing less priority things and not the most productive or most meaningful things. But by going through and doing an inventory of that and identifying what really produces economically and what is really meaningful, usually the thing that produces is something that serves others. What's meaningful, it serves ourselves. Finding a balance of those meaningfulness as in the things that are most productive allows us to earn more income to delegate to lower priority activities. Once we delegate to lower priority activities, we get way more done. We feel way more fulfilled. We have a greater self-worth and net worth, and we're able to free ourselves up for creative thinking with the executive center in our brain instead of having to live in frustrations with our amygdala. So we actually activate our angelic mind, as I call it, instead of our animal mind. This is the most productive and most powerful day we can make. So prioritizing our day every day and living by high priorities is key. Parkinson's law states that if we don't fill our day with high priority actions that inspire us, it's going to keep filling up with low priority distractions that don't.
Tell me about where does inspiration come from?
Well, whenever you're setting goals that are aligned to your highest values, the things that are most priority, most important to you, you're spontaneously inspired from within, like a calling from within to act. Nobody has to ever remind me or motivate me or incentivize me to get up and research and write every day and to teach every day. I love doing that. I can't wait to do it. And whenever you're doing things that are high in your values, you can't wait to do it. And when you can't wait to do something that inspires you, people can't wait to get your inspiration. But whenever you're doing something lower on your values, because you'll procrastinate, hesitate, and frustrate in doing it in comparison to the higher values, you'll need motivation and drive and incentives to get you to do it. And you're more avoiding pain and seeking pleasure in that mode. So I always say I'd rather fill my day with inspirations than have to live my life through having to be motivated from the outside. Motivation is a symptom, never a solution. Inspiration is the fulfillment of life.
But is it not difficult for people that maybe have just kind of like a mundane job? Is it not difficult sometimes maybe for them to find inspiration if they're just trying to bring a living in?
Actually, if they have never taken the time to identify the job description that they have and identify what's really truly high on their value, and then identify how specifically those activities are going to help them fulfill their highest value, they're going to have a mundane job. But it's never what happens to them. It's never what they're going through. It's their perception of it. William James, the father of modern psychology, said that the greatest discovery of his generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their perceptions and attitudes of mind. So if we take the time and ask the simple question, how specifically is the job duty I'm doing right now going to help me fulfill what is most meaningful, most inspiring, my highest priority, my highest value in my life, my purpose in life? If I ask that question and don't give myself excuses for not answering it, and just keep asking and answering that question over and over again, eventually my mind will see the blessing in it and see things on the way, not in the way. And the same job that seemed to be mundane is now inspiring. And the more you become engaged and the more you be fulfilled in the job. And when you're doing something that's meaningful, you look forward to the job and you're not trying to escape it with tea and coffee and internet distractions or spectators, things, or etc. And you're engaged, you're more productive. You get more promotions, more opportunities, and you're more likely to get more income and eventually more entrepreneurial opportunities.
Are you sick and tired of struggling to get your career to where you want it to be? Working with the right coach can be a life-changing experience, and Bernardo Moya is changing lives all over the world. Learn how to create revenue streams, attract higher qualified clients consistently, market your brand, and promote your business to a global audience. Bernardo is one of the biggest names in the world of personal development. He is an entrepreneur, an author, a speaker, and a founder and chief inspirational officer of the Best You Corporation. So fast track your career now.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone. And now we have with us Jen Beck. The speaker is going to be talking about 3 secrets that diet gurus don't want you to know. I am super excited about this talk and really looking forward for it. What about you, Laura?
I am too. I have my pen and my notepad ready to go.
Me as well. All right, let me give you a quick introduction about Jen before we bring her on. Jen Beck is an international coach for women over 40 who have been struggling with weight and health issues. Over the last 20 years, Jen has empowered thousands of women to transform their lives by ditching the diets and drugs and instead solve the root cause of their health and weight challenges. She coaches women on how to create long-lasting results through small strategic changes. Jen helps them discover their ideal foods for their body's unique needs, eliminate sugar cravings, and end emotional eating. After working with Jen, these women have incredible energy, have eliminated the need for medications, and can effortlessly maintain their weight. The founder of Complete Health Revolution, registered nutrition consultant, and certified LIIFT practitioner, Jen has spoken to Fortune 100 companies and international audiences. She offers one-on-one coaching, corporate wellness programs, and highly interactive workshops. Welcome, Jen. We bring her on now. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. And we're so excited to learn what you have to, share with us. I'm ready to take notes.
Awesome. Get your paper and pen ready.
Got you.
Have them ready.
Over to you.
Fantastic. So this is about 4 or 5 months ago. The phone is ringing on the other end. And there's a woman, when I answer, there's a woman sobbing. And she says, I just can't do it anymore. I just can't do it anymore. And she finally calmed down enough to be able to talk to me. And her name was Sandy. She had been struggling with her weight for the last 30 years. She was in a place where she was fatigued. She was fed up with being defeated. She was exhausted. Her kids and grandkids were missing her because she wasn't present. Her business was losing money, and she was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. See, what I came to find out is that Sandy had been on 2 or 3 different diets a year. every year for the last 20 years. And I know some of you can relate because her story is not unusual. Unfortunately, in America today, we are 70% obese, or 70% overweight and 40% obese. And I know we are the fattest country in the world, yet there's a lot of other countries throughout the world that are in that same predicament. You know, we try all the things, we try all the diets. There's Weight Watchers, there's keto, there's Atkins, there's, a lot of diet gurus just say, oh, if you just work out more than what you eat, you're fine, right? The diet industry has exploded and we are spending billions and billions of dollars on it every single year, yet our waistlines are increasing. Our health concerns across the world are increasing, and yet we're stuck. So today I want to give you the 3 secrets that the diet gurus don't want you to know. Because if you really understand these 3 secrets, you won't need the diet industry. You don't need to be restricting yourself, counting points, weighing food. There are so many things that we do to try and lose weight that it literally causes depression, anxiety, and additional weight gain, just because we're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. So I want to share with you today how you can be able to take control back, how you can create a way of living that allows you to thrive with amazing energy, an incredibly effortless a way to balance your waistline effortlessly, and where you can truly be in a place where you're in the driver's seat of your health. You know, because there are so many different diets that are out there. And, you know, I think part of the reason, not to say that the diet gurus don't have the best intentions at heart, right? I can't say that about the diet industry as a whole or the weight loss industry as a whole, but I think a lot of the diet gurus, they really want to help people. They want to help us lose weight. They want to help us, you know, get a handle on things so we can feel our best. But the diets don't work. Right? This is nothing new. This is not a new surprise or a new topic, but diets don't work. And so if you take one thing away from this, I want you to take that away, that they don't work. So there is no reason to next week go out and sign up for a new one or a new program or a new plan. I'm going to give you the 3 secrets that will allow you to effortlessly reach and maintain your ideal weight. Okay? Because you know, the diet industry, if you look at it, we pair marketing and confusion, right? Which plan should it be on? My best friend did this one, but when I tried it, I didn't lose any weight. I actually gained weight, right? I have a client that did Weight Watchers a couple of years ago, and she got her blood sugars up to 300. She was in pre-diabetic, almost diabetic range by going on Weight Watchers. You know, and come to think about it, if Weight Watchers actually worked, would they need a lifetime guarantee? Right? I mean, Weight Watchers doesn't work because, and in general, diets don't work because 85 to 90% of the population, people that go on these diets, gain that weight back and then some. Right? We've had the fads like the HCG diet, where we go on a 500 calorie diet and we do a shot every day or every week. And that allows us to be able to lose weight. I have a friend of mine that did that. He goes, it was the best thing ever. He goes, I dropped 20 pounds over the course of a month. And then for the next 6 months, I could eat whatever I wanted, because it took him that long to gain the weight back, right? So we do all these crazy things, and I'm not immune to this, right? Back in my 20s, I did just about everything. There's a clinic, the Mayo Clinic diet came out, and it was drink a cup of black coffee or black tea with each meal and eat 500 calories for the day. Well, of course you're going to lose weight. You're starving yourself, right? There was a year I did cottage cheese and carrots every day for a lunch, because it was low fat and low calorie. And that was the craze at that time. Right. And so I've done all the crazy things. I did Weight Watchers. I've done some keto and some Atkins over the years. And, you know, but the thing is that they're not sustainable. They overhaul everything in one day. They eliminate specific food groups. And many of them are designed so that you will do it for 7 days. Right. If you've ever picked up a Glamour or Vogue magazine or something like that, and on the cover it says lose 7 pounds in 7 days. Well, great. What do you do after that 7 days? It's not sustainable. Most people will do the 7 days and be like, oh, cool, I lost a few pounds. Usually not 7, but they lost a few, and then they're defeated again. So it creates this diet cycle mentality where we literally can get locked into that cycle and feel more and more defeated, less and less motivated, and grow fatter and fatter and fatter year by year the more that we try. So I want to share with you the 3 secrets, because you don't deserve to live in that space. But the number one secret is that there are foods that are bio-individual for you, right? We all have something that's called a metabolic design. And your metabolic design is how much protein, fiber, and fat that your body needs. So if you're somebody that's a protein metabolic design, but you're eating the way that a carbohydrate does, you're eating a lot of grains and fruits and things like that, you're going to be miserable. You're going to have a lot of excess body fat. You're going to have low energy levels. You're going to be moody. You're going to be hungry. Maybe you know the term hangry, right? And then on the other end of the spectrum, if you're a carbohydrate design, then you're eating for a protein metabolic design, you're going to be sluggish because your body can't digest red meat well. And we're all somewhere on that spectrum. So it's really important to really learn what the best foods are for your body and what your body specifically needs. Because once you understand that, then it becomes second nature and on how to eat healthy, right? Because if we know what foods make us feel amazing, and it's kind of a no-brainer to eat the foods that make us feel amazing 80 or 90% of the time. The 10 or 20% isn't going to kill us. It's when we switch those and we're eating all the wrong foods and then adding in sugar and processed fats and, loads of extra empty calories on top of it that we end up really struggling, right? So learning your metabolic design and learning which specific foods are your best fuel allows us to put our healthy eating on autopilot, just like brushing our teeth, tying our shoes, or even driving to work, right? How many of us have gone to work? Maybe not recently, right? But we left home and we got to work and we're like, oh, how'd I get here? Because we're autopilot because we've just created muscle memory of going from here to there, right? So number one is to make sure that you're eating for your body's fuel. Because if you don't, you're not going to be at your best, right? So there's a gal I work with, Trisha, and she came to me because she was really struggling with her health, and she's about 40 pounds overweight. And we did her metabolic design assessment, and within 2 weeks of eating the way that her body wanted her to, she dropped 9 pounds. She was forcing herself to go to bed at 11 or 11:30 at night instead of falling asleep on the couch at 7. Her cravings for Diet Coke and candy bars in the middle of the morning were gone. And she dropped 9 pounds in 2 weeks. So it's amazing when we fuel our body the right way, our body responds quickly. Okay. Now, rule number 2, which kind of goes along with that, is we've got to get to the root cause. See, the diet gurus don't want you to know and don't want you to understand that weight isn't the issue. Weight is a symptom of the issue. If there is something that is not working in your body, if there is something that is impeding your body's ability to function at its highest level, it will store extra weight. And there's about 11 different reasons why we store this extra weight, right? And let me just do a quick little mini assessment with you, okay? So the first one is, do you ever have excess weight that's hard to lose? Regardless of how much you exercise, you can't lose that weight. You may be dealing with insulin resistance. You may be dealing with inflammation, okay? Do you ever feel older than you are or than you would like to be, right? Again, a lot of times that's inflammation. Do you wake up with joint aches and pains, or do you have them when you go to bed, right? When you go to bed, it might be a magnesium deficiency. When you wake up in the morning with them, it's likely inflammation. So we're looking at addressing each one of these, right? Do you have sugar cravings or cravings for other foods? If it's sugar, it could be candida, which is gut health. It could be insulin resistance or high insulin levels, right? And those are 2 reasons why our body won't let us release weight. Are you dealing with, sleep issues? Are you on medications for other health issues? Those health issues can be decreasing your ability to release weight. Are you dehydrated? Do you drink half your body weight in ounces of water a day? This is probably one of the most simple things that you can do to start seeing a shift and a transition in your body. Because when we are dehydrated, our body utilizes water to balance and regulate our body temperature. So if we're dehydrated, our body will pack on extra weight to be able to manage that, right? So do you remember Sandy I was talking about in the beginning? She had been struggling with rheumatoid arthritis. She was on 3 different heart disease, blood pressure medications. She had asthma and allergies, and you name it. And so when we shifted the way that she was eating so that it was fueling her body and it helped her body to heal, Her rheumatoid arthritis went in remission. Her asthma and allergies disappeared. I mean, her energy went through the roof, and she dropped 25 pounds in 3 months. Now, prior to that, she had just finished out the shake program, right? You drink 3 shakes a day and miraculously weight falls off. Not for her. She lost 4 pounds in a year, and they said, great job, keep going. And she was spending $600 a month on this shake program. And in just 3 months, dropped 25 pounds when she started fueling her body and healing it at a cellular level. Okay, so there's a ton of different reasons why we store extra weight. I ran through a few of them, but it can also be hormonal imbalances. It can also be thyroid issues, and where you carry your weight is an indicator of what's going on under the surface. So if you have a big beer belly, right, the one that's protruding, a lot of times that's liver congestion. That's why they call it a beer belly. If you have saggy belly, and that's your weight is all in that saggy area, a lot of times that's stress. If it's a tire around the middle, it could be thyroid. Under your belly button could be hormonal imbalances like over extra estrogen in your body. So it's looking at the root cause, because when you understand the root, you heal the root and the weight falls off. It makes so much more sense than battling the scale. Because when we battle the scale, we not only are frustrated, but we're also driving our stress levels up, which increases our cortisol, which is another reason why we can't lose weight, right? So it's getting to that root cause of what's actually going on so we can be able to heal and release the weight. Now, the third secret that they don't want you to know is that we actually have, for many of us, kind of a self-sabotaging relationship with food. And it's only self-sabotaging if we take it to the nth degree. But we all put our emotions in foods, right? We all have those certain go-to comfort foods that we absolutely love. But when we have those foods that we love in excess, because we're bored, or because we're sad, or because we're lonely, or because we're stressed, because we're frustrated, because we just are looking for something to do, because we're missing somebody and we've got an emotional connection with them, then we're utilizing food for a reason that's not in our best use. Right? It's not our best benefit to be using food in those ways. Instead, it's a matter of getting to the root cause, again, of what's really going on. Overeaters Anonymous has a great acronym that I love to use, and it's HALT. Okay, so write this down. H is for hunger, right? Are you hungry? Have you eaten in the last 2 or 3 hours? Are you feeling the physical signs of hunger? If you are, then you can make a choice, and then you can be eating to fuel your body. Does it mean you'll never indulge in something that's less healthy? No. But if you can intentionally and proactively look at, what do I need? What does my body need right now? Then you can make that choice, right? A is for angry, right? This is that frenetic energy. You're like, it could be stress. It could be anger. You could have just had a fight with somebody. You could be distressed. It could be any of those negatively charged emotions. That's A for anger. And that's usually like you're just grabbing something and you just need it now, right? L is more of that pondering energy. Maybe you're wandering in the pantry or in the cupboard and going, what sounds good? I need something right now. And a lot of times in that case, we're looking for some kind of a connection or some way of making ourselves feel better. There's a void there. Maybe we're missing somebody. Maybe we're lonely. Maybe we're bored. We need some stimulation. We're sitting on the couch watching TV, and this is like not stimulating us at all. So we need something else to do, right? And so it's that more of the language energy where you're just kind of pondering, like, what do I need? What sounds good? And then T is for tired. And it could be mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual fatigue that you're feeling. But a lot of times we will go to certain foods to be able to fill that void. So just know that our relationship with food has a massive impact on how we eat, how we store our food, and the energy that we have while we're consuming that. So it's important that we look at that and go, okay, so what do I actually need right now? What would satisfy me? Do I need some yoga? Do I need to go for a walk? Do I need to call a friend? Do I need to eat something, right? What are the things that are actually going to fulfill the void that I'm experiencing right now? Because we all know that there are those times when we want something. And for some people, it's a celebration, right? It's like there are some people where food is a relationship with every single emotion that they have, right? I have a client who When I worked with Peggy, every time when she was a kid, every time she came home from school, grandma would give her a cookie when she had a good day, and grandma would give her a cookie when she had a bad day. So for her, every emotion was linked to food. So we started working through that, and then she was able to find other ways to be able to satisfy that need or that desire. Right? And so these are three really simple ways that you can start taking control back, that you can start to step into a power position and start to address the things that are holding you back from creating your best life and the weight loss you desire, right? Because we all have reasons why we're carrying the weight that we are, but you don't have to, right? Find out the foods that are your best fuel for what your body needs. Number two, figure out what your root cause is, why you have weight loss resistance, why you're carrying the extra weight in the first place. Number three is really heal that relationship with food. So it goes back to a place where it's nourishing and social and enjoyable, and it has its place in life versus having the all-encompassing way that many people view food. And I know that some of you are really excited about, making 2021 the year that you drop the COVID-19 poundage, right? Because many of us had freshman 15 when we went away to college or to university. And yet during COVID, many people have put on another 10, 15, 19 or more pounds. And it's not weight that you have to carry around with you. Utilize these three principles. And then I'm going to give you another resource where you can be able to download the 5 down and dirty ways to drop a dress size in 3 weeks. Now, I know it's a little bit of a sensationalized title because it's eye-catching and it's grabby. But I will tell you the principles that are in there, those 5 principles that are in there will allow you to manifest and maintain your weight, your ideal weight effortlessly, right? It will help you to maximize your energy, where you can be able to start thriving on a daily basis versus feeling like you are surviving. And so you can go to CompleteHealthRevolution.com/free gift. So again, it's www.completehealthrevolution.free-gift, free-gift. And you can be able to download the 5 down and dirty ways to drop a dress size in 3 weeks. Because you deserve to ditch the diet. You deserve the opportunity to thrive and feel amazing. And when you have these 5 principles, you can start to create your own freedom. You can start to step into the space where food has its place, but it's put in its place. And you can ditch the diets and tell the gurus to take a hike. They don't get any more of your money because you are set up to thrive. And you can do it day in and day out.
Awesome. And when you're talking about drop a dress size, I mean, I'm sure so many women were ready and writing that down, especially after being locked up,
Right.
at home and eating and, just comfort food.
Yes.
Quite a few of us have gained some pounds.
Absolutely.
We have.
And sometimes it's funny because they're like, I don't buy this stuff for me, but it's for my kids. But they're the ones that end up eating it. They're trapped with it.
Very true. But one of the things I do, if it's really bad, like sodas and all of that, I just don't bring it in the house because I'm going to be tempted. I just remove temptation away from us. Otherwise, what happens, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And I always think about it
Absolutely.
like, I always think about it, if we don't want to eat it because it's going to impact our weight, do we really want to be feeding it to our kids?
There you go. Good point.
Very good point.
And it's important to teach our kids now too, Jen. I'm sure you can appreciate that. Teach them the good eating habits from now.
Absolutely.
So that later on it can prevent them from having health issues, right?
Yeah.
And challenges, which is a real problem there.
Yeah.
It certainly has been a joy to have you here, and especially for women who are super conscious about their weight and everything. But I have to tell you, I'm going to make some notes for my husband as well, because, he blames me for his round tummy, because I all my cooking, but I'm going to tell him, Jen Beck says, take some responsibility.
Absolutely. No, nobody else can control your waistline, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And you know, Jen, that's the hardest part to work, right? The tummy area.
Yep.
Do you have any pointers for us to manage that particular area? What can we do in addition to what you said?
I mean, so really looking at the biggest thing is understanding why you're carrying that extra weight around the middle. You know, depending on if it's bloating or you know, the liver issues or the hormonal issues. So getting to the root cause is very important. But doing an elimination diet is a great place to start, right? A lot of the things that cause bloating and gas are grains, dairy, gluten, and sugar. And so when we can remove those for our diet, you know, for 4 to 6 weeks, I'm not talking about forever, but for 4 to 6 weeks, it gives you an opportunity to get your body back to baseline where it's in a really good functioning place. Then you can reintroduce them one at a time and see, is there one of these that's really driving the bloating and the weight gain? And then you can be able to decide what you put back in and what you don't.
So it's really a personal assessment, monitoring changes what you're eating and the reaction. Tell me something, Jen. What are your views on cleansers? Would you recommend them?
So cleansers are really interesting. And I would say it depends, again, on the person. So I had a 24-year-old come to me once. Her and her sister had just done 3 detoxes over the course of 3 months. And she had no energy. She couldn't even practice yoga anymore. She had plantar fasciitis and she had her cycle every 3 weeks. She was perfectly healthy before she did these.
Wow.
So with detoxes and cleanses, it's important to do it with somebody that knows what they're doing versus just randomly buying something off the internet. And the other thing is that most of us, at least growing up, our bodies function naturally to detoxify themselves. Now, if we've lived for years with all kinds of processed foods and high fructose corn syrup and, you know, a lot of environmental toxins, then we may need to do a detox because that's one reason why we'll hold extra weight. So it's really personalized again.
Yeah. One of the things I've always done too, Jen, is I follow the practice of how much you eat, when you eat it, and how is it prepared. The problem for most of us, though, especially those of us that are, working and everything, it's by the time we're finished working, we're past the hours that are not recommended to eat. Yeah. What are some guidance you have for us in terms of those of us, by the time we're done 7:30, 8, we're now hungry.
Right.
What do you have to share on that?
So there's a couple of things that you can do. One is looking at adjusting your eating window, right? So intermittent fasting is amazingly beneficial. And if you're doing if you eat your last meal at 8, then bump up your start time till 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Your body will adjust and you're still honoring and giving your body the ability to burn off and utilize all the foods that you're eating. Now, if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock at night and you don't necessarily want to have a big meal, right, at 8 o'clock in the evening, because you don't have enough time to be able to digest that, right? Right. So instead, have your big meal at lunchtime or earlier in the day, and then have a lighter meal in the evening, maybe even a smoothie or something like that. So your body has the ability to digest it because it's already kind of had that support and help already. Yes. And then you have a little bit lighter meal later in the evening. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. And I think also if you have to eat late, don't go right to sleep. That's the other thing, because I've tried that and I will get acid reflux. I wouldn't feel very well if I eat on a full tummy and go right to bed. So one of the things I learned is to stay up a little longer. We recommend some exercise before.
Yeah, I mean, taking a little walk, I mean, it helps aid the digestion. The other thing too is if you're dealing with acid reflux, you may not have enough acid in your stomach to digest your food adequately. So you may want to supplement with a digestive enzyme to be able to help that process along. That would also be beneficial if you're eating later in the evening.
Right. And you mentioned to keep hydrated, right? Drinking a lot of water. And try and stay away from sugar, too much sugar.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, and sugar is in everything. So it's really important that we look at how much we're taking in. And, a lot of people go, oh, well, I'm eating coconut sugar. I'm eating agave nectar right. And it's like sugar.
Yeah. And the thing, as you said, Jen, sugar is in everything, right? It's in bread. It's in everything, even in things that you don't think sugar is there. It's there.
Yeah,
So,
but I will tell you, it's possible to be able to eat and enjoy all of the delicious goodies without having sugar in your body, right? So I made donuts with my daughter this morning, and we made them at home, and there was not any sugar in the donuts at all, and they were delicious, and they even had chocolate icing on them.
Wow, wow. I'm texting you privately to find the recipe.
Yes,
I'm happy to share it.
I would love to get that recipe too. But let's be honest, Jen, there's still a lot of us that love our juicy, yummy, delicious foods. So I think for those people, perhaps, and I'm one of them, even though I believe in eating healthy, but I do believe in a treat or treats every now and then. The important thing is to not feel you have to deprive yourself of that, but moderation. Anything in excess is no good. Is there something else you add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I'm not a food purist by any means. If you would have looked at me in my early 20s, I was living on fast food, coffee, and Diet Mountain Dew. I was not the picture of health back then. So I really believe in meeting people with where they're at and then helping them to make small changes. But you've got to figure out how much you're ready to commit. I personally live a 90-10 lifestyle. 90% of the time, I am focused on protein, healthy fats, and lots of veggies. The other 10%, I don't mind if I have a glass of wine or if I've got a burger, or do you know what I mean? It's like you've got to have balance and you've got to indulge, but do it really mindfully and intentionally on how much, how often, and what.
Yes, and I can tell you, Jen, I remember when I represent Jamaica. I'm from Jamaica initially, and I, as Miss Jamaica, Body Beautiful. And let me tell you, the training was intense, the diet and everything. I had not 1 ounce of fat on my body. So much so that when I had anything, sugar or anything, I could literally feel it.
Yes.
But that takes a lot of discipline. I mean, that was 1997. Now I'm more all about being healthy, but still, welcoming a little bit of, meat on your body.
Yes.
Fat.
Healthy versus thin, right? Healthy versus thin. Because there's a lot of fit athletes that are not healthy.
Right.
There's a lot of people that I know that do like CrossFit and they'll get done with the workout and go eat a large pizza. I'm like, that kind of defeats the purpose. Like, so your body looks good, but your insides do not.
Yeah, boy. Well, Jen, thank you so much. That was a lot of great information. And I think, as you said, it's to just monitor your body, research people. We encourage you to speak to Jen and find ways that you can learn how to be more healthy. So thank you so much for that, Jen.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
You take care.
You too.
Right. Okay, great. We're going to go to a quick commercial and then we'll be back.
My passion is to set people free by helping you transform any area of your life more effectively and faster than anything you've tried before. I do this by unique abilities gifted to me through 2 near-death experiences that allow me to help you change your frequency, changing your life.
Welcome back, everyone. We just want to take this opportunity to thank you all for being with us. It's a Sunday. You could have been anywhere else, but you opted to be here at the Best You Expo, learning and sharing. And there's so many other rooms, the main stage. We're so happy to have had you here. And I personally want to thank our producer, Michael Salter and Alexandra Sultan, who have been here with us, supporting us, making sure that we can get through to share with you the best way we can. So thank you.
Especially through all the technical glitches and everything that we
Yes, thank you so much for doing that. It's all about teamwork, right? And understanding that life happens and we just have to make the best of, the glass is half full, it's not half empty. So thank you all, and God bless you all. Continue to take care of yourselves and each other, and spread love and learn more. You know where to find us. And look up on all the speakers, and please follow the Best You Expo and at the bestyouexpo.com and the Best You TV. You'll be able to see a lot of what was covered over the last 3 days there. Just keep in touch and follow our progress. And I'm Laura Butler from Fusion Consulting, and my co-host.
I'm Sarisha Ravari from Citrines, and thank you everyone for being a part of the Best You Expo London. And Stay tuned. We have a lot of more expos coming up later this year. I'm planning one with Bernardo in India. So if you want to be a speaker at one of the Best You expos, if you want to get in touch with any of the speakers from the Best You, please get in touch with us. And if you have anybody that you think would want to be a speaker at the Best You Expo, get in touch with us.
Yes, and there are so many other ways to partner with us as well at the Best You. So please reach out and we'll be happy someone will respond, and let's keep connected. Stay connected. Take care.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
People want to be the best, become the best, learn from the best. That's why in 2021, the Best You TV will bring you its new TV series that will feature the top and the best speakers, coaches, authors, and mentors. Coming soon to the Best You TV.